At Citi Field in New York, Pix 11 presents New York Mets baseball. Tonight, the Mets play the St. Louis Cardinals. New York Mets baseball is brought to you by Aruga's Grill in Howell and East Brunswick, New Jersey, with more than 40 top beers and the best wings you ever tasted. By Nissan for great offers on their most exciting lineup ever. Shop nissanusa.com. By Optimum. By Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. By Adapt Community Network, we change. And by GoldenNuggetCasino.com, where players come first. Well, the home run apple got itself a workout last night from that guy. Francisco Lindor had a night to remember. Playing on that melodica. Take me out to the ball game. Yankees are gone, but the Cardinals are in for big games. Hopefully that apple will be rising a little more. There are the standings in the National League East. 18 games to play for the Mets. 5 games behind the Atlanta Braves, who are off tonight. The Mets, though, are creeping up in the wild card standings, just 3 games from the second wild card now, with 4 teams in front of them. And a pleasant good evening, everybody, and welcome to Citi Field. Gary Cohen, Keith Hernandez with you tonight as the Mets open a 3-game series against the St. Louis Cardinals. The Mets are fighting for a wild card and a division. The Cardinals at the trading deadline were 6.5 out of the wild card. Looked like they were done, but they made moves. They picked up John Lester. They picked up Jay Happ to bolster their pitching staff. They haven't played great since then, but with the teams in front of them, San Diego and Cincinnati, fading, the Cardinals find themselves just a game out of a playoff berth.
Well, San Diego has opened the door for the wild card contenders and have thrown the Mets right back in. The Cardinals have been kind of a funny team, up and down all year, inconsistent, but they've kind of caught fire here. They lost the first 2 games 2 series ago against the Dodgers, came back and beat them twice, and then lost the first game to the Reds and then took the series. So they come in here feeling good about themselves, also with their big guy in the mound.
And their big guys are starting to hit, Paul Goldschmidt and Nolan Arenado, but it's Adam Wainwright on the mound, who is having a spectacular year at age 40.
Well, since the All-Star break, he is 8-2 with a 2.17 earned run average over 12 starts. He's got his curveball. He stopped throwing his cutter so much, went back to his curveball, and that has been the reason why. He's got 15 wins. He is in contention for the Cy Young.
And Wainwright is the youngster in tonight's pitching matchup. Rich Hill is on the mound for the Mets.
Yes, Rich Hill's got him by a year. There's 81 years on the mound tonight, folks. 41 right there in Rich Hill, and he has pitched really well for the Mets. Got off to a sluggish start, but has found his form. His last 2 starts, he has kept the Mets in a ball game. Hasn't won yet. He's deserved a couple of wins.
Rich called this AARP night. Adam and Rich pitch. 41 versus 40. Mets and Cardinals, big game coming up on Pix 11. By Acura, precision crafted performance. Enjoy Dunkin's Sunday Fun Days at Citi Field. Get your special offer ticket 4-packs with $10 loaded value on each to use at concession and merchandise locations. Restrictions apply. For tickets, go to Mets.com/Dunkin. Which brings us to the themes of the game, brought to you by your local Chevy dealer.
Oh, boy. Age, veterans, the captain of the shifts. Look at those 3 guys right there. Those are veterans. Not over the hill. He's been pitching great. Well, his skills are not waning. We love that. And, oh, my gosh, look at Mr. Met. He's got a walker.
Hurry.
He got a walker, but Yadier takes precedent. 302nd career start as Ray White's battery mate.
Well, age before beauty. Mets and Cardinals, first pitch coming up. Live like a pro. Goldschmidt and Arenado get most of the attention, but Tyler O'Neill has had the best year of any offensive player for the Cardinals. Notable by his absence from the lineup, Paul DeYoung, who is a noted Met killer, but is having an awful year and has been benched in favor of Edmundo Sosa, a rookie who's been getting the primary time at shortstop, and he's in the lineup ahead of DeYoung tonight. Mike Schultz and Luis Rojas going over the ground rules. Jerry Mills, the home plate umpire and crew chief. And I don't know if there was any mention of whistling.
Oh. And no garbage can tops. We're not having it. No symbols.
Francisco Lindor, who had himself a night to remember last night. So there were 33,000 screaming maniacs in the building last night for a 4-hour game that had a playoff-type atmosphere. Tonight, there's about a quarter as many people in the ballpark against a different opponent. The game is just as important, but you wonder about an emotional letdown after that big weekend.
Well, you know, the Yankees had to play a day game today up in Minnesota, and they were behind. They came back and won that one. So I'm sorry, here in New York, forgive me. And they were able to come back on that one. Took them a while to get going. The Mets have had a chance to rest. A lot of players came later to the ballpark, I should say, to recharge their batteries. It was a very, very energetic, typical Subway series, and the Mets wind up winning the series on the year, but that means nothing, Gary. These games are most important. And your defense, for the Mets, your optimum defense, you're going to have several Gold Glovers and Platinum Award winners on tonight's field. 2 of them there by the Mets on the infield with Lindor and Baez. And Pilar is no slouch. He has never won a Gold Glove, but he can patrol center field.
Tommy Edman leads things off for the Cardinals. Edman with 148 hits this year, 7th in the National League. The Cardinals are just ahead of the Mets in terms of runs scored. The Mets are 13th and the Cardinals are 12th in the league in runs scored. But both these teams have been swinging the bats better lately. The Mets put up 14 runs in the last 2 games against the Yankees. So here is Edman, switch hitter, who bat right-handed against Hill. Rich is set to go. And the first pitch of the night is a fastball outside, and we're underway.
And the Cardinals also are 3rd in the National League in stolen bases with 74 pillows stolen. This guy is the top of the heap with 25.
1-1 to Edman. Paul Goldschmidt on deck, and then Tyler O'Neill for the Cardinals. Mets and Cardinals played 4 games in St. Louis back in early May. They split the 4. Cardinals won the first 2. Mets won the last 2. Good high fastball by Hill, and he's ahead on Edman 1-2. Paul Goldschmidt on deck. Goldschmidt has really come on the second half of the year. Three infielders on the left side against Edman, the Stanford product, math major, you know.
Oh, God bless him.
And the curveball bends in for strike 3 call. We're going to see a lot of quality curveballs tonight from Hill and Wainwright, and that's the first one, and it gets Hill a strikeout to start the night.
And here's his big slow bender. And a right-hand hitter, he will always want to keep it on the outside part of the plate, preferably on the outside corner.
So Edman should be able to calculate his new batting average going back to the dugout, a shade lower than it was before. Here's Paul Goldschmidt. And Goldschmidt gets ahead of one and pulls it into the screen, 0-1.
And Goldschmidt and Arenado are starting to heat up. And these are the 2 guys, Paul in particular, as well as Arenado, that they need, if they're going to get into postseason, those 2 guys have to carry the load.
Goldschmidt hitting .327 against lefties this year. Just turned 34 years old. 6-time All-Star. And he takes a changeup off the plate from Hill, a ball and a strike. Goldschmidt's had great career numbers against Hill, 9 for 19, including a home run. We mentioned the age of the 2 starting pitchers tonight. Wainwright 40 and Hill 41. And the curveball in for a strike. But there's one area where they differ greatly. Adam Wainwright has spent his entire major league career with one team. Rich Hill is playing for his 11th different team. He actually spent some time in spring training with the Cardinals one year, but never threw a pitch for them in the regular season.
He's what you call a survivor.
Certainly is that. Curveball hit the other way, and Alonso able to smother it. He picked it out of the air, they say, and that's the second out. First base umpire Junior Valentine saying that Alonso caught it before it hit the ground. So Pete positioned perfectly to pick off that liner by Goldschmidt for the second out.
Well, that's how you hit a slow curve. Goldschmidt, I think, was probably sitting on it. hit it to the opposite field, a bullet.
So 2 out and nobody on. Now Tyler O'Neill. 25 home runs, 56 RBIs for O'Neill, who has the highest OPS for the Cardinals. And he takes a fastball on the inside edge, 0-1. O'Neill just coming into his own. Last year won a Gold Glove, but didn't hit much. This year he has had a terrific year. He's 26 years old, British Columbia native, and he pulls the curveball foul, and it's 0-2. Who's Hot brought to you by 1-800-JUNK. All you have to do is point for full service junk removal, and that's what O'Neill has done over the last week or so. O'Neill hitting over 300 against lefties. The Cardinals in general have fared extremely well against left-handed pitching, and they've got all right-handed bats in their lineup tonight against Rich Hill. 7 right-hand hitters and 2 switch hitters. Cardinals are 20-13 this year when a lefty starts against them. And O'Neill fouls off the fastball. 90 from Hill, one of the rare times you'll see 90 miles an hour on either side tonight. Cardinals have won 4 of their last 5 under Mike Schilt to sneak 4 games over 500, and right now that has them just a game behind the Padres and the Reds, both of whom have been stumbling over the last few weeks. And fastball fouled away. San Diego is in San Francisco tonight to start a series with the Giants. The Padres are 9-18 over their last 27. The Reds are off tonight. They start a series in Pittsburgh tomorrow. The Reds are 6-12 in their last 18, so that's invited everybody else, the Cardinals and the Phillies and the Mets, into the wild card race. That's just 3 games back in the wild card hunt, 2 behind the Cardinals. And the backdoor curve is fouled off.
Well, 18 games remaining, and every one is important for the contenders for the division as well as wild card.
Well, the Padres have by far the hardest schedule. Their opponent's winning percentage is over 600 the rest of the way. Mets don't have an easy road either. They have to go to Boston and Milwaukee next week after playing the Cardinals and Phillies at home this week. Again, the 0-2, and O'Neill takes just low. 1-2. And the Mets finish the season with a home series against the Marlins and then go to Atlanta for the last 3. So if the Mets have their sights on the division, they have to obviously get to within 3 games before that final weekend. They're 5 back of Atlanta right now. Braves are off. They'll play the Rockies tomorrow. Popped up foul, and that'll come back out of play.
And the Braves don't have it that easy themselves. They got to go back to the West Coast, Gary.
And they have to play the Giants and Padres on the West Coast with Arizona in between.
No, they're playing Arizona. The Giants 3, then Arizona 4 on the road, Gary. Then they come home to face San Diego, and they have a 5 games in 4 days. They have a suspended game to make up.
Right.
So there's no easy chore for anybody here, and flip a coin.
Well, the Phillies have the easiest schedule. They're just not playing very well right now.
You know how I feel about the Phillies.
Sidearm, slider misses inside. Well, the Phillies just had themselves a soft touch. The worst road team in baseball came to visit them for 4 days.
Yep.
And the Rockies beat them 3 out of 4. Now the Rockies are in Atlanta. We'll see if they can keep that going.
And we got some Atlanta's off tonight. Of course, you mentioned that.
9 pitches deep into this at bat, and O'Neill's still in there. Nolan Arenado would be next.
So Rich Hill with his curveball, Gary, and he throws a lot of fastballs to set it up. He knows he can't live off that slow curve. But for him to get that kind of speed on it, which is off speed, it has to have a lot of rotation. What do they call it? Spin rate? I'll say rotation.
Put together 2 terrific starts in a row. 12 innings, only 1 run allowed. And he misses high with a fastball to O'Neill.
So Rich knows how to pitch. He's got a predominantly right-hand, all right-hand lineup. 1 switch hitter in the lineup.
3-2 coming, and the curveball misses outside. So on the 11th pitch, O'Neill, who was down in the count 0-2, works out a 2-out walk.
Pretty good at bat there by the young O'Neill.
It was only the 10th walk issued by Hill in 44 innings since joining the Mets. And now Nolan Arenado, who has homered in each of his last 2 games, will come to bat. Arenado with 31 home runs for the year. That's 6th in the league. 96 RBIs.
Yep.
That's 2nd in the league. No Cardinal has driven in 100 since Matt Holliday did it 9 years ago. Arenado in his first year with the Cardinals. Three-time National League home run champ, 2-time National League RBI champ. And takes a fastball inside for ball 1.
Has hit 8 first-inning home runs this year, and everybody looks and scrutinizes a player like Arenado, who comes out of years in Coors Field and now on the low regular altitude. What kind of year is he going to have? Well, the power numbers are there.
Drives this one out to left. Should be playable for McNeil. And at the edge of the track, he makes the catch to retire the side. Hill works around a walk. Mets come to bat with no score. Exact same starting 8 has been the Mets lineup. This is the go-to now for Luis Rojas, and the Mets have rewarded him with offense. 24 runs in the last 3 games. Facing Adam Wainwright for the 2nd time this season. 6'7", 230 pounds, 40 years of age, just turned 40, and a lifetime record of 182 and 105 in 354 starts. One start against the Mets this year. It wasn't great. Gave up 5 2/3. 5 2/3. Gave up 5 runs, but got the win. And the Cardinal defense, brought to you by Acura, precision crafted performance. Well, you've got Arenado over there with 4 platinums, 8 years in the big leagues, 8 Gold Gloves over there on the far right side. On my side of the field, 3 Gold Gloves with Goldsmith. Great corner. Molina, another platinum guy. And out in the outfield, O'Neill, we mentioned earlier, got his Gold Glove. And the pitcher not listed there or pictured, Adam Wainwright, 2 Gold Gloves. Must be the Sox. Jonathan Villar, 4 hits in his last 30 at bats, and he takes a first pitch strike.
Well, Villar was so red hot and really kept this club going for so long. He was due to have a little cooling spell, but hopefully get it right soon.
Slapped over the bag. That's a base hit for Villar. Chased by O'Neill. Villar takes the turn and holds on. So an opposite field single for Villar to start the bottom of the 1st.
Well, hit them where they ain't. That's off the end of the bat. Well.
A nice ovation for Francisco Lindor, coming off his huge night last night. First 3 home run game of his career. First 3 home run game for anybody in a Mets-Yankees game in the 25th year of interleague play.
We'll watch and see how Wainwright pitches Lindor, and I'll explain.
Yeah, first pitch curveball misses for ball 1.
Lindor has been better from the right side than the left. He hit 2 home runs last night from the left, 1 on a fastball. Curveball pitcher in Wainwright. Lindor can catch up to that curveball. Let's see how he pitches him. He let him off with 1.
Only had 7 career at bats against Wainwright, 1 for 7. And another curveball, that's in for a strike, and it's 1-1. Wainwright has thrown his curveball 35% of the time this year, but he's actually had more success throwing his fastball. The OPS against his fastball is .641, which is the 6th lowest in the majors, which just goes to prove again that you don't have to throw 98 to have an effective fastball. 1-1 to Lindor with Conforto on deck. Villar stole a base last night, his 13th of the year.
It's interesting that Wainwright, over his long career in 13 starts against the Mets, is 6-6 with a 4.95 earned run average.
Yeah, but how do you do as a reliever?
I understand.
Lifted to left, and O'Neill moves over toward the line to retire Lindor, 1 out. Adam Wainwright came up in 2006 as a reliever with the Cardinals. Joined the rotation shortly thereafter. Only Bob Gibson has struck out more hitters than Wainwright has as a Cardinal. And that really gives you some perspective, right? Wainwright is on the cusp of 2,000 strikeouts. Max Scherzer yesterday got to 3,000 strikeouts. This shows you what a milestone that is.
Traded back to the Cardinals in the offseason of 2003 from the Braves.
Right. He was a hometown kid, a Georgia native, first-round pick by the Braves, traded for J.D. Drew.
4 players in that trade.
The crowd's Conforto with a cutter, and it's ball 1.
It was Jason Marquis, the left-hand reliever Ray King, and Eli Marrero was an infielder or a catcher?
Catcher.
And J.D. Drew.
Yeah, Drew was the key guy, and the Braves thought they were getting a cornerstone franchise player, but instead it was the Cardinals who got one.
Interesting, Gary, how I mentioned that Wainwright has gotten away from his cutter and gone more to his curveball. That's been the reason for his success. But he threw a cutter to Conforto, trying to power inside on Conforto, get him worried in, then probably go away.
Rolled over to the right side. Edman bobbles it, has to go to first with it, and gets the out there. Edman was thinking about grabbing it, turning it, and throwing to second, but it came off his glove, and so VR winds up at second base.
Well, I've never seen a second baseman try to do this. So turn his back to second base and do it this way, and do the spinorama. You don't want to do that. You want to catch the ball in front because it might be a bad hop, and if it does, you can block it with your body, and then do the shift and just throw to your second baseman. Get the lead runner. Keep the guy out of scoring position.
Edman, a guy who in the past has been a multi-position guy. He's played some right field this year, but mostly he's been a second baseman with Colton Wong gone to Milwaukee. So here's Alonso. Pete's 0 for his last 13. He did hit that fly ball that had everybody holding their breath in the 8th inning on Saturday.
Yeah, the dead central.
Trying to channel his inner Piazza, and it just came up a little shy. But Pete had some good swings in that series.
He's been swinging the bat fine, Gary.
32 home runs, tied for 3rd in the league, 85 RBIs, 9th in the league. And looking to pick up VR from second.
They've been pitching him with respect. He has to be, pitchers have to be careful with him, and they like to crowd him early. Wainwright leading him off with a boring in fastball in. They don't want Pete, any power hitter or any good hitter, you don't want them not to respect the inside corner and you pitch them away too much where they can extend their arms. You're asking for trouble.
Wainwright over his last 10 starts, 8-1 with a 1.86 ERA. Talk about finishing with a flourish in your age 40 season.
Coming back in, Gary. So I will tell you that first pitch for a strike was a pitch he wanted to get 0-1, and that cutter he threw way wide was a purpose pitch to come right back in. There's Pete closing his eyes, taking a deep breath.
Chases the curveball, and it's 2-2.
That is a wicked yellow hammer, folks. That is wicked. Look at the spin. Wow. How many games for these two? This battery, Gary?
302 starts that Wainwright and Molina have made together. That's 4th on the all-time list. Mickey Lolich and Bill Freehan are number 1. And who knows, they might catch him next year. Molina's already signed for next year, and Wainwright has said now that he wants to come back as well. Just off the corner, 3-2. Wainwright had to poll his family, and they gave him a unanimous yes vote.
Well,
his oldest daughter's starting high school this year.
It counts. They count.
That's how long Wainwright's been around. So he has 4 kids, and he had to poll the whole delegation and make sure that everybody was on board. They are, and now he has to work something out with the Cardinals. Just can't imagine he's going to go anywhere else. And that's outside ball 4, and so Alonso walks. And Javi Baez will come up with 2 men on.
Pitch Pete very carefully, very respectfully.
And Baez may be wielding the hottest bat in the lineup right now. He went 7 for 12 in the series against the Yankees. 10 for 19 over the last 5 games. You saw Molina tap him on the back. Those two played together in the World Baseball Classic for Puerto Rico. Baez has never had much luck against Wainwright. He's just 5 for 35 against him, which really doesn't make much sense because Baez is such a good breaking ball hitter.
And no home runs.
So VR at second, Alonso at first with 2 out.
Yeah, look where he's starting him off. Fastball in, Gary. He missed, but it was in enough.
Baez has been taking a lot more pitches lately, working a little deeper into counts, getting a little more selective. And the numbers have shown his OPS for the Mets is almost 200 points higher than it was with the Cubs.
Ooh.
Bounces in, and Molina uses the chest protector to deaden it. 1-1.
Oh, we have got to see this block. This is just an incredible block. Look at this ball where it hit. Oh, wow. That is just superb.
Use the mask as well.
Oh.
Just uses his body like a big pillow. Take all the life out of that ball.
That is just a superb block.
That's why they hand out the gold.
Platinum.
9 gold gloves, 4 platinum gloves. I mean, think about that. The Cardinals have 8 platinum gloves on the field.
Yes, they do.
Only give out 2 of those a year, 1 in each league. Arenado's won 4 and Molina's won 4.
Yep.
2-1 to Baez. And the slider off the plate. Now it's 3-1. Jeff McNeil would be next.
Well, this is telling you right now how tough this lineup is, and it's just been an enigma why this team hasn't scored runs. But look how Wainwright is pitching through the heart of this order.
And Baez gets a 3-1 curveball. Of course he does.
Oh, wow. Well, it's just amazing to me the guys that can throw the slow curve and have it break off the table. It's just got to have terrific spin rate. Or
so VR and Alonso will be running with 3-2 and 2 out. And it's outside ball 4, and that loads him up for McNeil. So back-to-back 2-out walks from Wainwright to Alonso and Baez. Nice job by Javi to lay off. It's amazing how much more disciplined he's been the last couple of weeks and how that has paid off in results for Baez.
It's amazing too. Interesting that the ground ball off Conforto's bat. I don't know if they would have turned 2 on that ground ball, but he would, if they could have, he'd have been in the dugout.
So now McNeil, who had a good series against the Yankees, 5 hits and 10 at bats, and a single and a double last night. And a chance to get the Mets an early lead. Bases loaded, 2 out. And Jeff gets a first pitch curveball for a strike.
That's your get me over backdoor hook.
It's been a rough year all the way around for Jeff, particularly driving in runs. He's hitting 181 for the season with runners in scoring position. And changeup foul tipped. 0-2.
Well, look at the batting averages against the hook. Dominic is the real shocker there, that he was so good last year.
Now Wainwright has McNeil in an 0-2 hole with a curveball and a changeup. And Jeff gets a curve and strikes out to end the inning. So Wainwright walks a pair, but fans McNeil on 3 pitches to get through the first unscathed. No score after 1. Discover Puerto Rico. Plan your trip at discoverpuertorico.com. Noah Syndergaard threw a light bullpen session today. We'll face live hitters later this week. Hope to get him back by the end of the season. Same for Jacob deGrom, who should be able to get up on the mound sometime this week. We'll see. Meanwhile, much closer to returning is Tomas Nido, who's here today and probably will be activated tomorrow.
I saw Tomas taking BP.
Yadier Molina drills one down the left field line on the first pitch from Rich Hill in the second inning. Molina digging for second. It's bobbled by McNeil, and so Molina will make it easily with a leadoff double. First hit off Hill, and it's the 39-year-old catcher who drills one into the left field corner for his 18th double.
So here's a catcher hitting. He's probably caught a lot of pitchers like Rich and saying, okay, I'm going to first ball fastball hit. I'm not going to let him a little bit off here, slow curve there. If I get a first pitch fastball, I'm going to cover it. And he did.
So the Cardinals have their first hit. And now Dylan Carlson, the rookie right fielder, just 22 years old. Curveball in the dirt, and McCann does a nice job stopping it. McCann is starting his 6th straight game. Remember a week ago when they wouldn't start him 2 games in a row, coming off back spasms. Now he's a fixture back there, but with Nito coming off the injured list tomorrow, he'll probably get a spell.
Well, you got to go to the whip here, Gary.
I mean, McCann had a great offensive series against the Yankees. That was as good an offensive series as he's had all year. So they'd like to keep his bat on the lineup as much as possible, in addition to his normally stellar defense. And that catches the inside corner. The ball and a strike to Carlson.
Oh, Carlson is a tall kid. Look at this little beanpole there. He's a skinny lad. Tall and slender, I should say. That's more complimentary.
Carlson out of Elk Grove, California, same high school that produced J.D. Davis. Carlson's dad, Jeff, longtime coach at Elk Grove. They produced 8 major leaguers over the years. And somewhere that's Jerry Meals behind the plate, and I don't know what he was looking at.
Well, Jerry Meals, Gary, you mentioned a notoriously small strike zone,
but that was ridiculous.
Well,
it was several inches above the bottom of the strike zone.
I always wondered how umpires feel when they know they blew one.
Curveball looped into shallow left. That's going to fall for a hit. Molina is going to come around third and score. Carlson heads for second. McNeil's throw is not in time. Back-to-back doubles for the Cardinals. And St. Louis has a 1-0 lead. So Dylan Carlson drives in his 50th run of the year. That's his 29th double.
And that's a little bit on the label there. The curveball stayed up, and this has got a lot of hang time. Pilar is shaded to the other field. Yeah, he couldn't get there. No way. Absolutely no way. That's called a well-placed soft liner. I wouldn't even call that a soft liner.
Hit him where they ain't, Keith.
Hey, it's a line drive on the computer tomorrow, Gary. Not in the paper.
So 1-0 St. Louis. Now Edmundo Sosa, the rookie shortstop. So I find it fascinating that the Cardinals come to town and Paul DeYoung is sitting on the bench. Paul DeYoung, who is having an awful year, but has routinely destroyed the Mets every time the Cardinals have played them.
Yep.
But he's been so bad that Sosa plays ahead of him even against the Mets.
Well, Sosa has a very nice glove. Also, Gary, he's got 15 extra base hits in his limited time. 6 doubles, 4 triples, and 5 home runs.
This is his 63rd start, his 48th at shortstop, and he's been becoming the primary shortstop lately. There's DeYoung, who hasn't been able to get out of his own way this year, hitting under 200. And Sosa fouls off the fastball from Hill. Sosa's 25. He's from Panama. And getting his first real crack at the big leagues. There's DeYoung against the Mets. I mean, the numbers are just startling in terms of the number of extra base hits in the limited opportunities he's had. 24 games, 21 extra base hits.
Well, he's hitting 157 against left-handers, DeYoung, this year, and 70 at bats, Gary.
Which makes no sense.
4 home runs, 7 RBI. That's very unproductive.
Sosa able to foul off the curveball.
Well, they're making Rich work here.
First run of the game brought to you by Hyundai. It's your journey. Own it. Dylan Carlson owning an RBI double. Carlson came into the day hitting .336 against lefties, so he enhances that with his not all that well struck double against Hill. And Sosa takes the curveball up and away, 1-2. Harrison Bader, Westchester native, waiting on deck. His birth certificate says New York, but his hair says California.
It sure does.
1-2 coming. Hit on the ground at third. BR checks the runner and gets the out. Sosa retired for the first out of the second.
Well,
so now Bader, now in his 5th year with the Cardinals. I mean, pretty much the same year he's had every year. They keep waiting for him to break out offensively. He's a gifted center fielder who has never hit as much as they've hoped.
well, he's the kind of guy, Gary, if you got a good hitting lineup, you know, you need to be strong up the middle defensively. He's an extremely good center fielder. He covers a lot of ground. He's athletic. And you can carry a guy that doesn't hit. He does not like the wrinkle, the breaking ball.
Bader, college teammate of Pete Alonso's at Florida. He takes the curveball inside. Bader was a year ahead of Pete at Florida. Bader a 3rd round pick in 15. Pete was a 2nd round pick in 16. Bader, born in Bronxville, went to Horace Mann for his high school years. And that curveball backdoors, but it's outside, and it's 2-0. The pitcher Wainwright, one of the better hitting pitchers in baseball, on deck. Former Silver Slugger winner.
Yep. Well, he's driven in 3 runs already this year, and I shouldn't say already. We're almost at the end with 2 doubles.
3 weeks to go, Keith. Lots can happen.
18 games. It is, Gary, it is a toss-up.
Well, it's become more of a toss-up, particularly with the wild card because of the Padres and Reds struggles. So these 2 teams sensed that opportunity. It looked a couple of weeks ago as though the Mets' only path into the postseason would be the division, but that's changed. Bader pops one up on the left side. Lindor backpedals a couple of strides, and that comes in. 2 out.
Well, it looked all year like, you know, there was only going to be a second wild card position up for grabs because San Diego had a lock on it, but San Diego has just really gone down the old chute.
So here's Wainwright, 6 hits this year, lifetime 193 hitter with 10 home runs. So you got the 41-year-old Hill pitching to the 40-year-old Wainwright. It's the first matchup of 40-plus pitchers in the big league since 2015, when the Mets sent Bartolo Colon against R.A. Dickey in Toronto. The last time, though, the Cardinals had a matchup of 2 40-plus pitchers, you got to go all the way back to 1933 when the Cardinals' Dazzy Vance pitched against the Reds' Epa Rixey. 1933, last time.
I remember Dazzy Vance.
You really?
Epa, I don't remember.
Like personally?
No.
A ball outside, 1-1.
All those old baseball players back in those days always had those Dizzy Dean, Daffy Dean, you know, Dazzy Vance, all the funky names. I love them.
Ducky Medwick.
Ducky, because he walked like a duck. He waddled.
Fastball at the knees, 1-2.
My 2 favorite were, when I was a kid growing up very young, was Hobie Landreth and Smokey Burgess.
How about Pumpsy Green?
The Pumpsy Green. Boston Red Sox.
1-2. And the curveball at his feet, and it's 2-2. Frenchie Bordegaray. Babe Ruth. Lefty Grove.
Yeah, great.
2-2 coming. And late swing foul.
So there's always been the argument, was it Koufax or Lefty Grove as the greatest left-handers of all time?
Steve Carlton not in that conversation.
I know. I mean, Lefty Grove.
Warren Spahn.
Lefty, what, 1 year won 31 games, right?
Randy Johnson.
Yes.
I mean, all those guys.
Yep. I mean, yep. Agreed.
Tom Glavine. Different kind of pitcher, but
yeah, but still,
you can't argue with the result.
Absolutely.
2-2 coming, and it's bounced foul. How about speaking of nicknames? How about a guy you played with? One of your favorite teammates, William Hayward Wilson.
Oh, Mook, of course. Of course. Yep.
And maybe that all-time left-handed conversation includes Clayton Kershaw too.
Yes.
Curveball pulled down to third. VR will go across the diamond. They get Wainwright, and that retires the side. Back-to-back doubles by Molina and Carlson produced the first run.
The gang. He was just as good as he said he was, and had no qualms about holding out for more money.
No, I haven't signed my contract this year yet, and don't expect to unless the Cardinals pay me $50,000. If I'm worth $400,000 to the ball club, I'm at least worth $50,000 to myself.
For 3 years, Old Diz dominated the National League, and his admirers came from all over. In fact, he even had a fan in baseball's most legendary figure, who might have been the only player more popular.
Dizzy Dean, they tell me that you're dizzy, but if I could throw a ball like you, I'd like to be as dizzy as you are. This is for your All-American. Pleasure to pick you on the team.
Jay Hannah Dean, best known as Dizzy. He had a Koufax-like career in that he had a 5-year stretch where he was just completely dominant. Then he got hurt, and he was never really the same.
He won 30 games, and then the next year 28, and the next year 24, then 18, and he got hurt.
And then he had a great second career as a broadcaster, not a conventional broadcaster, but one who brought his kind of Ozark patois to the game.
He had a little, he blew some smoke in that booth, that's for sure.
His best line was after his brother Paul threw a no-hitter in the second game of a doubleheader. Dizzy had thrown the first game and thrown a 3-hitter, and he said to Paul, you know, if I'd known you was going to throw a no-hitter, I would have thrown one myself.
And the Frankie Frisch was the player manager of the Gas House Gang, and I read a book about the Gas House Gang. And
1934.
He couldn't control Dizzy. He was too important to the club, and he was just a wild Mustang, and he had to let him loose. He couldn't rein him in.
He wasn't the only one, though. They had Pepper Martin, the wild horse of the Osage.
Yep.
That was a classic team.
Yes, it was.
A team that, I don't know, maybe in some ways presaged the '86 Mets. Just a team of personalities.
How do you know DeRocher was on that team?
Right,
Leo.
of course, he was the shortstop.
He was a shortstop. Frankie Frisch played second base.
Kevin Pillar leads off for the Mets in the home second. Pillar 2 for 10 in the series against the Yankees. Taking all the way. You don't see that often from Pillar, who is a notorious first pitch swinger. And he was bound and determined to take that first pitch from Wainwright. James McCann on deck, and then Rich Hill for the Mets in the second. Mets loaded him up against Wainwright on a single and 2 walks, but Wainwright struck out McNeil to end that threat. And Pillar hits one back toward the middle. Sosa to his left. Nice play. Spinorama, but he throws it away. Hits the He hit the first base umpire, Junior Valentine, right in the side of the face. And the trainer is going to come out to have a look. Sosa threw that ball so wildly after he did the spin. It was a good 15 feet wide of the bag, right where Valentine was standing, and it got him right there. Wow.
Oh my, I've never seen that. And the umpire's view is he's fixed on looking at the first base, so he's not aware of where the ball's coming.
Hit him in the side of the head because he's looking at first base and the ball's coming from shortstop.
Boy, you think you've seen everything.
I mean, it takes an incredibly wild throw for that to happen, and Sosa really.
Well, it was a tough play for him.
Feeling the emotional impact of that happening. It was going to be a hit for Pilar. I don't think he was going to be able to throw him out even with a good throw.
Agreed.
If the ball doesn't hit the umpire, then it's bouncing around in foul territory. Maybe Pilar goes to second, but that's not what happened. And Brian Chiclo making sure Junior Valentine is okay to stay in this game.
It's a heck of a play. He ranges up the middle, but he's just got too much motion to control the ball. Oh my gosh.
I mean, his second baseman Edman had to get out of the way too before the ball ever reached Valentine. And I mean, that's just a horribly errant throw. And I mean, I can only imagine Valentine feeling that ball hit him and having absolutely no idea it's coming. Now the question is whether he'll be able to continue.
He seems to be okay.
You worry about concussion and such things.
But he seems to be alert. So
76-mile-an-hour throw by Sosa. And with the impact causing a cut, that's the stitches.
He feels terrible.
Of course he does.
Yeah. So they're going to have to maybe. I think he's going to stay in, and they're going to have to put a Band-Aid over that because it's bleeding.
Well, certainly he can commiserate having been hit in the nose earlier this year. I don't know about you, Keith, but I have never seen that happen.
I have never seen that.
I'm sure Junior Valentine has never experienced that either.
He's staying. He looks like he has clarity. Stop the bleeding.
Good for him.
He's going to have a big walnut there tomorrow. That's for sure.
Yeah. Now the question is, what happens when the next ball hits Sosa? Does he?
I think he'll be
have
fine.
Any emotional? I mean, he obviously is shaken by this. Talking about a rookie there and a rookie umpire.
And he looks like a rookie umpire. Okay.
So the Mets get the leadoff man on in unlikely fashion. It scored an infield hit for Pilar.
Yeah, he's
going to be some kind of bruise.
It's going to have a big walnut there tomorrow. That's for sure.
So now McCann, who had a big series against the Yankees, went 3 for 9, drove in 6 runs in the 3 games, even had a triple on a ball that he eluded Aaron Judge along at the right field fence and bounced away. It was McCann's first triple as a Met. Starting his 6th straight game after a stretch on the injured list. And Wainwright misses with a sinker for ball 1.
Well, there's a real barn burner tonight in Washington, Gare.
What do you have to say?
The Miami and Washington.
You're being sarcastic. I wouldn't have guessed that. Those teams have things to play for down the stretch.
Sure they do.
The Marlins are trying to get both those teams are trying to get a read on young players, but even veterans. Yesterday, Patrick Corbin went out and pitched a gem of a game for the Nationals, and they really needed to see that from him. He's had such a bad year, and they've got him for what, 4 more years? Curve ball hit in the air to shallow left center. Coming on is O'Neill, and he makes the catch. 1 out.
That's O'Neill, Gare.
I know you've got a Mac.
You've got an O'Neill and a McNeil
on one side and O'Neill on the other side.
Oh boy, got to be on your toes in left field today. Well, Corbin pitched a good game against the Mets in that series. So
yeah, not bad. What was it, 6 innings, 3 runs?
7.
7 he won.
Yep.
So now Hill looking for his first hit as a Met. He had 1 sacrifice, 1 hit, but that came as a member of the Rays. Pilar at first and 1 out. And Hill pulls the bat back, tries the butcher boy. Arenado gets the out at second. The relay by Sosa for the double play. Well, he'll try the butcher boy, but couldn't hit it hard enough to get it by Arenado. 5-6-3 double play ends the inning.
A drive in the air to center field. Timo Perez jumps in the air, waiting for it to come down, makes the catch.
For the first time since 1986, the Mets are going to the World Series.
And the New York Mets are the 2000 National League champions.
And the Mets are jumping and leaping upon Mike Hampton, who went the distance. A three-hitter. He shut out the Cardinals.
See, if you're only old enough to remember 2006 and the Cardinals bedeviling the Mets in the postseason, got to think back 6 years earlier when it was the Mets who came out on top in the National League Championship Series, beat the Cardinals in 5 games that year en route to the World Series.
Yeah, the Yankees were right in their prime then and took care of the Mets in what, 5? Was it 5?
5, but all close games.
All close games. And
Luis Sojo with the 17-hop hit up the middle off Al Leiter.
I still say the first game, the double off the left field fence off the bat of Todd Zeile.
Yeah, I go back to game 4 after the Mets won game 3. First pitch by Bobby Jones. Derek Jeter headed to the ballpark.
Yep.
Established the tone in game 4.
And after the game they won in New York, they played the song Who Let the Dogs Out or something.
Well, they had the Baja Men do it live.
Yeah, live.
In the dugout.
And I was just going, oh no. And the Yankees saw it, and that's when they came out, and Jeter hit the home run the next day to set the tone.
Well, Edmundo Sosa between innings.
Oh, so sorry.
Saying sorry to Junior Valentine after hitting the umpire in the side of the head. Valentine going to continue on as we go to the 3rd. St. Louis with a 1-0 lead.
Well, he hasn't got a glass jaw. We can say that. Took a shot there. Gosh.
Top of the batting order. Tommy Edman leads off against Hill. And a fastball in for a strike. Edman took a call, 3rd strike, and a curveball his first time up. Edman came up in 2019 with a bang, hit over 300 that year. Struggled a bit in the short season last year, but is having a nice year as the Cardinal leadoff man. And he hooks that one down the left field line toward the corner. That is a foul ball. Just foul. Well, the third base umpire called it foul. Third base umpire called it foul.
That ball was fair 10 feet, Gary.
But I don't know what Vic Carapazza was doing, because he put his arms out to say foul ball. Disappeared from our views, so there's no way that we can tell from here. But obviously that's a fair ball.
That's a fair ball.
That was a bizarre call by Mr. Carapazza.
That's a tough one to miss right there.
I mean, come on. So Edman has a double. 3rd hit and all doubles against Hill. And now Paul Goldschmidt. And he hits one up the middle. That's a base hit, and Edman will scoot around 3rd and come on home. Goldschmidt wasting no time, driving at his 83rd run of the year, and it's 2-0 St. Louis. So Goldschmidt with a line drive that was caught his first time up. This time goes after the first pitch from Hill and bangs a base hit.
Well, remember, Molina hit a first pitch fastball double back in the 2nd, last inning, wound up scoring. And Goldschmidt here drives in a run. That would be Goldschmidt's 83rd run driven in. Cardinals have some speed.
Gotta watch out for Goldschmidt. He can steal a base. Got 11 steals this year without being caught.
You can go a whole season, Gary, and steal 15 and do it at the right time and sneak them, and they'll never get wise.
Tyler O'Neill at the plate and takes curveball for a strike. O'Neill drew a walk in an 11 pitch plate appearance against Hill in the first inning. So Hill, who had allowed only 1 run over his last 2 starts, has given up 2 now in 2 innings plus. For Goldschmidt, his 10th hit in 21 career at bats against Rich Hill. Pops inside. 1-1.
Well, Rich knows that he has to pitch inside to the right-handers, and this is all right-handed against him. And he has to establish and let inside so it will set up that curveball.
The bulging arms of Tyler O'Neill, who drives one out to right, and Conforto comes in to grab it, and Goldschmidt back to third. MLB The Show 21 is available now on Xbox One, Xbox Series 10, and with the Xbox Game Pass, own your rivals, own the show. Rated E for everyone. Now Arenado, who flied out to left his first time up.
He just missed one too. He got out in front of that one.
Arenado had a big series against the Mets in St. Louis back in May. Went 5 for 13 with a homer and 4 RBIs in that series. And the sidearm slider in for a strike. Home runs first 9 seasons for a third baseman. Only Eddie Matthews and Mike Schmidt have had more.
That's 2 Hall of Famers right in front of him.
This year, in his first year out of Colorado, he's got 66 extra base hits, which is second in the National League. So he really has not missed a beat.
Yeah, he just the batting average isn't there, but his productivity is there.
Does ground into a lot of double plays, 19 of them this year. Hill could use one. And the sidearm slider swung and missed, 67 miles an hour to pick up his second strikeout of the night, making Arenado look foolish. 2 out.
I think when he dropped down, Arenado lost the point of release, so he got tricked. The old trickster.
Throws that frisbee from the side.
And you can see a very awkward swing from Nolan.
So 2 out. Goldschmidt still at first, and now Molina, who jumped on the first pitch he saw and doubled into the left field corner and scored a run in the second. Molina, lifetime .280 hitter. 171 career home runs. And the question is that enough offense with his impeccable defense to get Yanni into the Hall of Fame?
Oh, I think so.
I agree, but not everybody does.
Well,
I think it's going to be an interesting call. I mean, to me, he's the Ozzie Smith of catchers. As he rolls one through the vacated space for a base hit, Goldschmidt will go first to third, and Molina's 2 for 2.
We've seen Molina so much in his ability to use the opposite field, and I would never. That ball's inner half, and that's an. His idea is to go the other way. Look where this ball is, almost on the inside corner. They got the whole right side of the infield. Look at that. I mean, come on. I would never leave that exposed to Molina, particularly with men on base or runners in scoring position. You better pitch him in, make him do something to pull, because he's got the back control to do exactly what he did.
So 5 hits now for the Cardinals, including 2 from Molina. And here's Dylan Carlson, who drove in the first run with a double to left center. First and third and 2 out. And Carlson fouls away the fastball from Dell. I'm with you, Keith. I mean, I don't know what the charts show on Molina, but we've seen him enough to know how
he's a smart hitter, Gary.
How easily he goes to right field.
Absolutely, and you don't have to overswing. I mean, if the runner's on second base and they're leaving that open, you can just punch it out there. You know, it's all about getting the runner home.
Or if you're Todd Frazier, you can bunt it through the hole and get a double. Popped up. Baez and Alonso looking for it. It's Pete taking charge of it.
Whoa.
And that retires the side. Goldschmidt's RBI makes it 2-0 St. Louis, going to the bottom of the third. St. Louis, and we check in with noted football host Steve Gelb.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, I decided to come back, at least for today, guys. You know, you were talking in the top half of that inning about how interesting it was that the Mets decided to shift Yadier Molina with the runner at first base. And here's the defense. You've got three guys to the left side with Paul Goldschmidt at first, Pete Alonso holding him on, and there's that really big hole on the right side that Molina takes advantage of. Now, why that's so interesting is Gary DiSarcina told me the number one thing he looks at when he's prepping where to put the defense is what a right-handed batter does with a runner at first and deciding whether or not that guy can manipulate the bat head because he feels so uncomfortable with that wide of a hole on the right side. Now, clearly, as you said, Yadier Molina is someone who can manipulate the bat head. Very interesting. There must be a reason why the Mets still decided to shift there in that situation.
Be an interesting question to ask. Worked out okay for them because the next man, Carlson, popped up. No damage done. Jonathan Villar scooted one over the third base bag for a base hit his first time up, and as he did the last time, Arenado playing way off the line against Villar. Lindor and Conforto to follow as Wainwright starts his second tour of the Mets order. Mets have had a leadoff hit in each of the first two innings, but have been unable to score. And the curveball bends low. A ball and a strike to Villar. Wainwright making his 29th start of the year. He's been a constant in a Cardinals rotation that has been decimated by injury. Their young ace Jack Flaherty has been hurt off and on. He's on the injured list right now with shoulder problems. Dakota Hudson had Tommy John surgery. They're hoping to get Hudson back before the end of the year. He's made 4 rehab starts, and they think maybe the last week or so he can come back and work in relief. But they lost Carlos Martinez for the season. They've had all sorts of injury problems with their pitchers, which is why they made the trade for the 2 other veterans, Jay Happ and John Lester. That's to see Lester in the final game of this series on Wednesday. Fastball off the plate to Villar, 2-2. But it's amazing that your oldest pitcher, your 40-year-old, winds up being the stalwart in your rotation. And Wainwright has been nothing but fabulous coming down the stretch of the year. Threw 8 1/3 against the Dodgers last time out in a 5-4 win. He comes inside that time, so he missed away and then he missed in with the fastball, and it's 3-2 to Villar.
Notice how he slapped his glove. He wanted, that was his out pitch. He wanted that strike. He is missed with that fastball on the corners, in and out, the first time through the order.
Lindor on deck, 3-2 to Villar. And he got him looking, came right back with the fastball, and that time got it on the inside part of the plate. Second strikeout for Wainwright.
Well, he doubled up on the fastball in. And that is a strike, and Lindor knew it. Villar, excuse me. Getting ahead of myself, Gary.
Now it's Lindor. Lindor flat out to left his first time up. Cutter misses inside the Lindor, ball 1. What a comfort it's got to be when you've got a guy behind the plate catching you who's caught you over 300 starts in your career. I mean, they must be completely on the same wavelength all the time.
Yes, and yes, no question.
Not a lot of shaking off. Curveball pulled toward the hole, base hit for Lindor. Well, the Mets have their 3rd hit against Wainwright as Lindor gets a curveball and pulls a base hit. That wasn't a mea culpa. That was, I wasn't involved. Wasn't me. It's funny. You know, you and I have not yet talked about the incident that precipitated that whole exchange of views last night with Lindor and Stanton, which goes back to Saturday. As Conforto takes low ball 1. Taijuan Walker struggling early in the game. Jonathan Villar goes into the mound, tells Walker that he believes that the Yankees have something on his pitches, that they're whistling to indicate which pitch it is to the hitter at the plate. Walker made whatever adjustment he made and pitched brilliantly after that. And then when Lindor hit his second home run last night, he made that whistling motion to Gleyber Torres as he circled the bases, and then said something to the pitcher Wandy Peralta as well. And then Stanton with his comeback when he hit the tying home run off Brad Hand, which led to the benches emptying.
Well, it makes for good TV. ESPN must have loved it.
Well, the question is for me about what is alleged. You know, there were no electronics involved, clearly. Whether the Yankees actually were picking up pitches and whether the whistles, which Stanton said were coming from Wandy Peralta in the dugout, were an indication to the hitter or not. Even Lindor said, I can't be 100% sure, but it's clear that the Mets thought that. And my question is the whistling something that is not allowed? And is the whistling something that a team is going to take measures to make sure stops? If indeed that's what it is.
It's legal. The only thing that's illegal is if you do electronics, anything like, or you have a guy like in Chicago, Wrigley Field, that had the binoculars that was relaying signs in from the scoreboard. That's cheating.
But what appeared to happen here is that somebody in the dugout was picking up something and relaying it to the hitter, and using his eyes, using you know, just his observations, and then relaying it to the hitter. So now, is that okay or is that not okay?
Well, they said tipping pitches. So normally when you think of tipping pitches, you think of something in the delivery, something in the windup. Well, if that's the case, then there's no need to whistle. You have word of mouth. Hey, he opens his glove, he fans his glove on a curveball. So it had to be something prior. And in our discussion today with Louis, and the veteran VR picked it up.
Well, he's closest to the Yankee dugout, so he could hear the whistling.
Right.
Popped up into shallow left center. And O'Neill comes on to get it to retire Conforto 2 out.
And by the way, the answer to your question, it's perfectly legal to do that. And you can police that. If you're going to whistle or someone in the on-deck circle says your name on a breaking ball, well, you can set them up with a curveball and you throw a fastball, and that'll end it. Or, as Louis said, he would prefer to have it verbally told to the other team, hey,
which is what happened.
You're going to get your players hurt.
That's what Lindor did when he made that indication to Gleyber Torres on his way around the bases. That's basically what he was saying.
So basically, what my understanding what VR picked up, obviously the whistling, was that in the grip of the ball, I guess. And
it's clearly something that could be seen from the dugout that couldn't be seen from the plate.
Or it could be.
That's why they're relaying it.
It could be seen from the third base coach. He's closer.
Right, that's possible too.
Okay, and then the signed relay to the dugout. It's simple. You get down on one, hands on both knees on a breaking ball, stand up straight on a fastball, and it might have been that the third base coach could see the grip. Right. As he was holding the ball. We don't know. But
takes a curveball for a strike. So the bottom line is, it's legal to whistle, but if you do it, as Lindor said, the other team's going to take it personally and do something about it. Now, whether that means throwing at a hitter, whether it means saying something verbally, as Lindor did, that's how you police it, right?
The pitcher should take it personally. That's my feeling.
And the other piece is that clearly, whatever it was, Walker made the adjustment because he was unhittable after that.
Correct. Then everything else that followed, I thought, was very unprofessional.
Which part?
The running around the bases and the taunting and the histrionics that even Stanton took offense. I just thought that was unnecessary.
Alonso pulls the curveball foul. Well, I mean, Lindor was basically saying, you know, you want to whistle, we can hit the ball too. And then because Lindor did that, Stanton felt as though he needed to respond and protect his team.
Right. And I just don't think that that is anything on the field. I just thought it was unprofessional all the way around. Shouldn't have happened. You know,
2-2 to Alonso and Lindor at first. The most entertaining part about the whole thing when the bench is cleared was when Brett Gardner looked over at Baez and Lindor and did the thumbs down.
Yeah, well,
that was hilarious.
It just started the whole. It stirred the pot right from the get-go, and
it just was the perfect denouement to the whole thing. There were no punches.
It's national TV, everybody, you know, and ESPN, and whoop-de-doo.
Yep. You're selling entertainment here. 3-2 to Alonso. Sometimes the entertainment takes unexpected forms. So now Lindor will be running. Goldschmidt's going to keep holding him. That keeps that hole open on the right side for Alonso. Interesting that he wouldn't drop back and play behind him, especially with a right-hand hitter up.
I missed this whole inning because of our conversation.
Sorry, Keith. I didn't mean to distract you. 3-2, and Pete hits one right at the shortstop. And Sosa this time throws on target to first, and that retires the side.
What did Conforto do?
Cheap this time.
What did Conforto do?
Brought to you by ShopRite, helping you get it together. Max Scherzer now the clear front runner for National League Cy Young. He was perfect for 7 1/3 yesterday. Recorded his 3,000th strikeout along the way. He had an immaculate inning along the way. 8 innings, 1 hit. He has been just spectacular since joining the Dodgers. Rejuvenated
into a team contending.
I mean, he was having a pretty good year anyway. But
yes.
My God, he's taking it to another level. Edmundo Sosa leads off in the 4th. Sosa grounded out to third base his first time up. And big for the Dodgers. Not only is Scherzer on this incredible roll, but tonight the Dodgers get Clayton Kershaw back from the injured list. He'll start at Dodger Stadium against the Diamondbacks.
You know, the Giants just refuse to lose. They sweep 4 in Chicago, and I don't care how bad the Cubs are in rebuilding. It's hard to take a 4-game series on the road.
Good fastball by Hill to strike out Sosa. 3rd strikeout for Hill. 1 out in the top of the 4th. Mets baseball is brought to you by Quick Draw from the New Jersey Lottery. Anything can happen in Jersey. Anything?
Quick Straw or Quick Draw?
Baba Louie. Here's Harrison Bader, who popped a short his first time up. Well, the Giants trying to continue their hot ways tonight, welcoming in the Padres. We've mentioned it a couple of times just how difficult the Padres schedule is at a time when they've gone 8-19 over their last 27 games. And tonight they play the Giants. Yu Darvish will pitch for San Diego. He's all of a sudden started to pitch well. There's a strike to Bader, and it's 1-1. And the Giants will go with a bullpen game with Dominic Leone starting. Doesn't matter who the Giants throw out there, they just win every day. And the Giants tonight can clinch a postseason berth with a win with 3 weeks to go. That takes a big burden off your mind. They'll be the first team to clinch anything if they get a win tonight.
Well, I talked with my brother today again, and he's watching the Giants, and he said they just continue to play great defense. No hot dogs on the team, just play the game.
I mean, yesterday they activated Wilmer Flores off the injured list. Wilmer flew halfway across the country just to play the one game, and he had a huge day.
Yes, he did. Gary said Wilmer has just been phenomenal off the bench, and everybody doing the little things. They just chip away.
3-2 to Bader. The team closest to clinching their division is the Milwaukee Brewers, who have a 14-game lead now in the National League Central. Their magic number is down to 5. Fresh off their combined no-hitter on Saturday, Corbin Burns and Josh Hader contributing the record-setting no-hitter. Backdoor curveball just missed for ball 4, and Bader's on. Both thought maybe he'd get that call from Jerry Meals, but no dice, and that's his second walk of the night.
Well, here's the motion. It's a curveball, so there shouldn't be really much difference here, but just check how he gets at spin rate. He just grips it and rips it. I like that term.
Wainwright showing bunt. No guarantee that he's bunting. Grounded out to third base his first time up. We've already seen Hill show bunt and then try the butcher boy, only to grind into a double play.
I think that Mr. Wainwright's going to bunt here because he would like to get a chance to get a 3-run lead.
Yeah, but if he hit a home run, he'd have a 4-run lead.
Oh, it's not that easy, Gare.
He's got 10 career home runs.
I know he does, but it's not that easy. Playing every 5th day. How do you do it?
He's also a great bunter. He's got 12 sacrifice bunts already this year.
So BR, you can see right there, has to respect the fact that he may not be bunting.
Yeah, he hedges, and that's a perfect bunt by Wainwright,
isn't it?
I mean, he's just really good at that. 3-4 on the sacrifice, moving Bader to second.
It's just, you know, when the first baseman's holding the runner on, that's where you want to bunt it, when the runner's on first only.
Catching the ball on the bat.
And
sounds
also
so easy, Keith.
And on the end of the bat too, so he deadens it. Level out in front of him. Textbook. Buddy Harrelson's smiling at home right now. I know that.
73rd career sacrifice for Wainwright. So Bader in scoring position with 2 out for Tommy Edman, who doubled off the base of the wall in left field in the 3rd and scored a run. The last time that Rich Hill and Adam Wainwright faced each other was in 2008, when Hill was a Cub, and it did not go well for Rich. In fact, he got battered that day and got sent to the minors the next day and didn't reemerge in the big leagues till the following year. So now 13 years later, these two hooking up again. That's line to short, caught by Lindor. Side retired. Hard hit by Bader, but right to Lindor to get Hill through the top of the 4th. Visit NissanUSA.com. The question is, who holds the record for most RBIs against the Mets as a Cardinal? Is it somebody from the early days back in the 60s? Is it somebody from the dark days of the late 70s and early 80s?
Gosh.
Is it somebody more recent? I've got an idea. The guy who was around with the Cardinals for a long time.
Well,
and hit in the middle of their order. Let's wait and see. Javi Baez leads off in the home 4th. Mets trying to get themselves going. They've had base runners in every inning against Wainwright, but they've stranded 4 runners through the first 3 innings. Baez drew a walk his first time up, and this time gets a first pitch curveball for a strike. 0-1.
Boy, that's a high strike right there from Jerry Meals.
Baez, McNeil, and Pilar for the Mets in the 4th. Cutter fouled off, and it's 0-2. Well, we mentioned Wainwright and Molina. Next year, if Wainwright does re-sign with the Cardinals
and stays healthy,
they could catch Mickey Lolich and Bill Freehan for the most ever starts as battery mates, which in this day and age is phenomenal.
Yes.
When you consider how few players spend their entire careers with one team. before free agency, back when Lolich and Freehand set the record, it was much more common for players to spend long stretches with one franchise. And Baez takes inside. Molina thought they had strike 3, but did not get the call.
And you look at Molina's reactions, like, come on, Jerry. Look at Molina's reaction.
Could have been a strike.
Oh, man. That's.
And Baez pulls the curveball down to third. The vacuum cleaner known as Arenado sweeps it up. 1 out.
Well, you want to stay away from him.
Just don't get much by Nolan Arenado.
To his left. Look at that transfer, Gary. That's interesting transfer, wasn't it? He let it.
Dropped it.
Yep.
Do his bare hand.
That's confidence.
Well, he plays third base with the same level of confidence that Javi Baez plays the infield.
Sure. He's solid.
8 years in the big leagues, 8 Gold Gloves.
Yep.
Imagine being a National League third baseman and thinking you ever have a chance to win a Gold Glove.
He's fun to watch, and he works hard at his trade over there. It just doesn't happen.
I mean, it would almost hit McNeil 1-1. I mean, you've got Manny Machado, who's, you know, an awfully good third baseman in his own right. But you have to figure, as long as Arenado's in the National League, it's going to be hard for Manny to win one.
What I love about Arenado is that you call him a blue collar infielder. He's no fancy Dan. Look at there we go right there. He's not a fancy Dan. Everything. He's solid fundamentally. I've never seen him get a routine and take it for granted.
And, you know, there's a little asterisk next to Ichiro, who was a phenomenal player, but, you know, was already a veteran player when he got to the major leagues. He already established himself as an elite player in Japan before he ever put on a big league uniform.
Well,
so while he was a rookie in 2001, he certainly was no neophyte.
He would be he's in the class of Ozzie Smith. I mean, it was just the most phenomenal shortstop that I ever saw.
2-2 to McNeil. Now the curveball outside. McNeil came up with the bases loaded and 2 out in the first inning, and Wainwright struck him out on 3 pitches. Curveball, changeup, curveball.
Let him off with a changeup here. Hard cutter in to keep him honest. And then I forget the second strike, but he's missed the put-out pitch, the put-away pitch, to get it to 3-2.
Wainwright has walked 2 tonight. He struck out 2.
Looks like Molina put down number 3, which means cutter.
Fastball fouled off.
You know what's remarkable too, Gary, about Molina is that he's no spring chicken, and he still catches pretty much every day. He got hurt this year, but he's out there. He wants to play every day, and you know, for a catcher, that's a lot of wear and tear.
Not a lot of 39-year-old #1 catchers, that's for sure.
Backdoor curve.
This is the 16th year Molina will catch 100 games. Bob Boone caught it in his 40s, but Rodriguez. Well, Gary Carter would be on that list, but I guess late in Gary's career he wasn't catching 100 games a year. That's hit into the shift, and it comes up for Edman, and he throws out McNeil 2 out. Gary hung around a long time, playing with the Giants, playing with the Dodgers. Where's Gary's last season? Because he left the Mets after '89. He must have played 6 or 7 years after that. No?
He went to the Dodgers and then the Giants.
Right. His last year was 1992. Is that right? So it was only 3 years after he left the Mets. Seemed like more.
He told me he did not like his stay in Los Angeles with the Dodgers. He did not enjoy playing there. I won't say why.
I bet you I can guess. And then, of course, he went back to Montreal for the end of his career.
Right.
Coming full circle. And Pilar takes one just a little low, 2-0. Pilar hit a ground ball up the middle. That was the play where Sosa, trying to make a spinning throw to first, hit the first base umpire, Junior Valentine, on the side of the head. Valentine went down, was attended to. He still has a bruise and a cut on his face, but he has not left the game. Cutter misses to Pilar, and it's 3-0. James McCann would be next. Why they haven't put a bandage over that?
I know. I'm
3-1 coming to Pilar. And he golfs one in the air to shallow right center. Edman goes out to call. And that retires the side. Wainwright with his first 1-2-3 inning. He's got 4 scoreless and a 2-0 St. Louis lead. Spectrum Mobile, the most reliable service coast to coast. RBI double for Dylan Carlson. RBI single for Paul Goldschmidt. 4 scoreless innings for Adam Wainwright. And that is the sum total of this game. 2-0 St. Louis as we go to the 5th. Oh, that's a lovely unicorn Mets hat.
Yeah. Okay. Whatever you say. I agree.
I think something along the lines of "Let's go Mets."
No argument from me.
And hello, Keith. Paul Goldschmidt has hit the ball hard twice. A line out to first and a single up the middle that drove in a run. Goldschmidt's in one of those grooves right now. Curveball bends in for a strike from Hill. 1-1. Tyler O'Neill on deck. Then Nolan Arenado as Hill works his 3rd time around the Cardinals batting order. Rich has gone 6 innings in each of his last 2 starts. His first 2 outings for the Mets that have gone that long. Sidearm slider drilled out to left center field. Back in the gap goes McNeil near the wall. It's out of here. Number 25 for Paul Goldschmidt. And it's 3-0 St. Louis. There are times when you face Paul Goldschmidt when he's in one of these streaks that you just can't find a pitch to get him out.
I love the way he adjusted his swing here. And when you're a breaking ball pitcher against a veteran hitter like Goldschmidt, Arenado, Molina, you really got to be careful with your breaking ball. And he just let that ball break right in. It's too flat, too, you can see. Didn't get on top of it enough.
But that's really the nature of that sidearm slider that he throws.
Was that a sidearm delivery?
Yeah, it was.
You sure?
Uh-huh.
Well, that's very risky. Now look where the catcher is set up. He wanted to get it on the back door, outside corner, and he got it in. Let's take another look here and see. You were absolutely right, Gary, and he got it inside, and that's where you don't want to do that with that Laredo to a lefty to a righty.
Pops one inside to O'Neill, and it's 2-1. And Goldschmidt really saving his best for late in the season. 25 homers, 84 RBIs now. 20th home run that Hill's given up this year. 6th as a Met. O'Neill fouls one back. We mentioned O'Neill and his bulging biceps before. He comes by those honestly. His dad, Terry, was Mr. Canada.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Tyler grew up in British Columbia.
So it's genetic. It's in the genes.
Well, I'm sure that he started working out at a pretty young age, too. seeing his dad.
Oh, he's got some guns. Look at that.
Got the Ted Kluszewski biceps. Fastball got him looking. Biceps couldn't help him with that. Fourth strikeout for Hill, 1 out in the 5th.
Sometimes they know those biceps, they can get a little heavy. It's hard to get them to move.
I wouldn't know. Would not know. So here's Arenado. He's flied out and struck out 0 for 2. Every game of such utmost importance right now. Hit sharply to short and caught in the air by Lindor, 2 out. $18 games to go, including tonight. And that's where the Mets sit in the wild card. 3 games behind the Padres and Reds. A game behind the Cardinals.
And the Padres are later tonight in San Francisco. A tough game for them.
Phillies are off tonight.
And
Reds are off tonight.
And of course the Mets have their hands full here with the Cardinals.
Well, you know, the Mets and Yankees played a very emotional weekend here at Citi Field. Not just the game last night, but the ceremony Saturday and all the emotion inherent in that, and a back and forth game Saturday for 4 hours and a back and forth game Sunday for 4 hours, played well past midnight. Now the Yankees had to play a day game today, and they were flat for the first 7 innings, and then finally came alive in the 8th and rallied to beat the Twins 6-5. Of course, it helped to have their whipping boys, the Twins, in town, who never win at Yankee Stadium.
No, the Yankees have their number.
Yeah.
And always, emotional series is, Gary, the team that's on the losing end is the one that really has the tough time picking themselves up.
So we'll see if the Mets can do the same as what the Yankees did today and figure this out as the game goes along. So far they've been stymied. One thing that's very interesting that transpired today for the Yankees coming out of that series was Aaron Boone finally deciding to move Gleyber Torres off shortstop.
Well, the defense of the Yankees was atrocious.
But I mean, they've gone the entire season with Torres not playing well at shortstop. And it took them until 3 weeks to go in the season when they've fallen out of playoff position and in desperate straits to finally decide to move him back to second, where he's obviously more comfortable.
That first game in the series, I had never seen a Yankee team of what? Since the Jeter era play such a bad ball game. A terrible ball game.
So what they're going to do is they're going to move LeMahieu to third and play Urshela at short. At least that's their game plan.
Yeah, Urshela may have made some errors too. A couple errors.
Yeah. Toronto, by the way, is rolling again tonight. They're up 5-0 after obliterating the Orioles the last couple of days. And the curveball popped up behind the mound. Who's going to get there? It's going to be Alonso. Good play by Alonso to get there on a ball not hit all that high in the air. Goldschmidt's home run makes it 3-0. Baseball is brought to you by Orlando, the theme park capital of the world. Plan your Orlando escape now. Stan the man.
Yes, sir. Red.
We lost Stan Musial in 2013, the greatest Cardinal of them all. 3,630 hits, which was the National League record until Pete Rose came along.
My dad said that Stan had the unusual stance. And Dad always described his swing to us, Gary, as a coiled rattlesnake. And when he started the swing, it was a striking rattlesnake from a coiled position. And if you really look at it, that's what it was like. He was just quite a player.
And it was the fans at Ebbets Field in Brooklyn who gave him his nickname.
Right.
And here comes that man again.
Because he always killed the Brooklyn. He had the big doubleheader, didn't he?
He had the perfect swing for that ballpark. James McCann leads off for the Mets in the home fifth, looking to break through against Adam Wainwright. McCann flied out to left his first time up. Dom Smith is out on deck to bat for Rich Hill. So Hill is done after 5 innings, 3 runs, 6 hits. Mets have Heath Hembree up in the bullpen. Trying to get some offense going against Wainwright, who's retired his last 5. And McCann fouls one back, and it's 1-1. '24-time All-Star, Stan Musial. 24.
Yep.
Played his last year in 1963 at age 42.
Yes, he did, and they win the next year in '64.
There's Dom on deck. I wonder if those socks distract the hitter.
No.
Curveball outside.
Not even looking remotely close there.
I'm just saying, it dazzles my eyes just watching it on the monitor. Here's Hembree up in the Mets bullpen. Two coming to McCann. He fouls away the cutter.
That was a hanging cutter right there.
Wainwright 15 wins this year, which is second in the National League. And probably more important, he's third in the league in innings pitched. With his fourth tonight, he's at 188 and a third innings, which right these days is enormous. Line to short. Oh! Webbing by Sosa.
What a play.
Sosa timed the lead perfectly and caught it with a lot of white showing to retire McCann. Beautiful play, one out.
Bullet. Oh, he just got his glove up there, didn't he? Very nice play.
So Sosa, who had an unsettling play early when his errant throw hit the first base umpire in the side of the head, makes a beautiful play there for the first out. So now Dom will pinch hit. He struck out as a pinch hitter last night. And this has become Dom Smith's role now.
Interesting.
With Jeff McNeil playing every day in left field.
Interesting using
Rich Hill done after 5 innings, allowed 3 runs, 6 hits.
Kind of using him in the 5th inning early, Dom. You know, usually you would wait. That leaves Mazika and Guillorme on the left side.
Well, the Mets have J.D. Davis on the bench, who can face lefties or righties. Keep in mind the Cardinals have 4 lefties in their bullpen, so that could influence that decision as well, to use Dom this early.
I'm missing one. I've got Cabrera, Miller, McFarland.
And knee-high strike with a changeup, and it's 2-2. Well, those are the career numbers for Wainwright. 182 wins, only 105 losses. Look at the ERA, 3.35.
He would love to get 200 wins too, Gary.
Even better ERA in the postseason. 28 career postseason appearances, 2.89 ERA. Fouled away. Kwang Hyun Kim is the other lefty. He's technically a starter, but they've been using him out of the bullpen as well.
I don't know how I missed him. How was your 2 days off? Good? Did you relax? Or did Lynn run you around?
I relaxed a lot. There were a lot of naps involved in the last 2 days.
Oh,
held off. Getting whacked by that follow through.
It always happens when the hitters let go with one hand, which we see a lot of today.
Seventh pitch of the at bat coming from Wainwright to Smith, and down the line's in to left center for a base hit. Bader trying to track it down in the gap. Dom trying for 2. And he makes it safely with a 1-out double. So a pinch hit, 2-base hit for Dom Smith to try and get the Mets started in the 5th. And that's 2 hard hit balls in a row against Wainwright to start the inning.
Same spot, fastball away. Dom goes right with it. And Sosa can't get that one.
So the Mets have their 4th hit of the night and their first extra base hit. And now Jonathan Villar, who led off the first inning with a base hit inside of 3rd, struck out in the 3rd inning. Wainwright starts his 3rd time around the Mets batting order. And Villar gets a first pitch curveball. Molina wanted that call but didn't get it. Either the strike or the half swing. Villar has been fantastic this year with the bases empty. But with runners in scoring position, it's the one place that he has struggled. He's hitting this 189 with runners in scoring position. .391 on base percentage with the bases empty. .244 with runners on. That's an enormous gap. How do you explain that other than maybe just too much pressure on himself in these situations? I don't know.
He's certainly aware of it, and it can snowball.
I mean, that's stark right there. Sosa playing right behind Dom as he takes a short lead at second. 1-1 to Villar. And the fastball away from Wainwright. 2-1. Wainwright's up to 80 pitches as he works in the 5th inning. Mike Schultz has allowed him to go as far as 113 pitches this year. Hit to short. Sosa on a hop. Throws on Villar. 2 out. Smith holding at second, and now Francisco Lindor will come up with 2 out and a runner in scoring position. Lindor's up to 293 with runners in scoring position this year, 5 for 8 in September. Things have been getting better and better for Francisco, even before his 3 home run game last night. He got a base hit to right field his last time up. Lost in all the superlatives. That was swung and missed. Molina just missed that ball. Now Tom trying to get to 3rd and
barely
there safely. Dom didn't take off till very late in that process after Molina had almost tracked the ball down at the backstop and just barely gets to 3rd base. I don't think Dom, and we didn't realize at first either that that ball was not foul tipped. It was just missed.
Wow, and you got
Molina.
Molina missed it. He's like, wow. Almost got thrown out.
It'll be a pass ball charge to Molina. And Dom just getting there, head of the tag by Arenado. So now runner at 3rd with 2 out and a 1 strike count to Lindor. Anyway, I got lost in all the superlatives last night. How rare it is for a Met to hit 3 home runs in a home game.
Right.
It had never happened until Kirk Neuenhuis did it in 2015. And then Lucas Duda did it like 3 weeks later. And then Robinson Cano did it. And those are the only 3 times it happened before last night. No Met ever hit 3 home runs in a game at the Polo Grounds. No Met ever hit 3 home runs in a game at Shea.
And go figure, Neuenhuis is the one that does it first.
Lindor takes cutter inside. It's 1-1.
Notice in all his cutters to left-handers, he's missed inside. He hasn't missed over the plate. And that's his pitch that he likes to. He puts a little something on it to set up inside, to make him think about inside.
Yeah, he hasn't gotten anybody to swing at that pitch tonight.
You see Molina bouncing around there. I wonder if they think that Lindor is a peaker, because this is the only time that Molina's done this.
And that's down with a changeup, and now it's 3-1. Michael Conforto waiting on deck. "21 pitches in this inning for Wainwright. Smith at third with 2 out. And the curveball misses for ball 4, so Lindor is on. Third walk of the night for Wainwright, and now they get Conforto to the plate as the tying run.
Well, it has been interesting to watch Wainwright work. It's been pitching very respectfully. Here's Mike Maddox, the pitching coach. That's probably going to put his right hand on Wainwright's left shoulder.
He's a hand on the shoulder guy like Rick Peterson was.
Oh, it's the reverse. Left hand on the right shoulder. See, this is Lindor with 3 home runs last night. Is he catching fire? I got to be careful with him. Conforto struggling. But you make one mistake with Conforto, and it's a tie ball game.
Michael had 5 hits in the series against the Yankees, and 3 of the 5 were to left and left center. That's when you can tell things are getting a little bit better for Conforto.
I mean, this is a hard inning for Wainwright right here. He's had a few of them in this start.
Still nobody up in the Cardinal bullpen. Wainwright at 86 pitches in the 5th inning. Conforto tonight is grounded out and flied out 0 for 2. They do not put a full shift on against him. Interesting. And the first pitch curve misses outside for ball 1. And I think that's in deference to the fact that they've gone over the recent scouting reports on Michael. And Michael's been using that shortstop hole. And Sosa's playing over on that side. Changeup taken down, and it's 2-0. Pete Alonso parked on deck. 1 hit against Wainwright, and that was a home run in 9 career at bats. Alonso's 3 for 6 against Wainwright. After a walk to Lindor, it's 2-0 to Conforto. And Michael pulls one right to Goldschmidt for the 3rd out. A bullet right to Goldschmidt, playing a step off the bag. And that's how the inning ends. 3 bullets in that inning against Wainwright, but 2 of them resulted in outs. 5 complete, 3-0 St. Louis.
Mets trail the Cardinals 3-0. Mets have a new pitcher after Rich Hill went 5 innings. Heath Hemry on the mound for the Mets. 51 games this season, an ERA of 5.96. But listen, for the Mets, they've had their opportunities so far against Adam Wainwright, but unable to break through in this game. And we've talked already about the remarkable season that Adam Wainwright is having at age 40 right now. And I was speaking with his manager Mike Schilt today about it. He said, we're in awe on our side just watching what he's doing. Said, really beyond just the numbers, the fact that he's the only pitcher on our staff to pitch every 5th day this season at that age. It's just incredible to watch. But he did say that there's really nothing different he's doing this season. He's just a guy that knows how to pitch so well. He said him and Yachty essentially share the same brain. Did think that the fact that there are so many hitters now that are one-dimensional, that helps a guy like Wainwright, who's just such a he puts on such a clinic when it comes to understanding how to utilize all of his pitches. And Gary, you mentioned the amount of innings that he throws, which is a bit of an outlier in this day and age. One of the things that Schultz said is he's a guy that hunts outs, not strikeouts. And he is someone, as Carlson flies out to left field, who thinks about going deep in games. And he told Schultz a couple of weeks ago, they were having a conversation about where the game is now and these guys that go 5 and fly. He said, when I get to the 5th inning, I think, okay, I'm halfway there.
Well, there are a few other factors, too. You know, Adam has talked about how he has refined his diet, how he has rededicated himself to being in the best shape, and that he's healthier now than he's been at any point in the last 4 or 5 years.
Right.
The other thing, and our producer Greg Pickard pointed this out before the game today, he gets ready for games differently than most pitchers. You know, normally we're used to seeing pitchers out there on the outfield grass a half an hour before first pitch, throwing from 200, 250 feet, long tossing before they ever go into the bullpen. Wainwright doesn't do that. He shows up on the field 15 minutes before game time, goes right to the bullpen, throws a minimal number of pitches to get loose, almost more like a reliever than a starter in terms of his preparation, and maybe that allows him to leave more of it on the mound rather than in the outfield before the game.
Well, I don't know that much about pitching and preparation, other than I think the most important thing is that when you get older as a player, Gary, you know, you think you can play forever, and if you want to continue to play, you've got to realize that the body's getting older. He's 40. And you have to do things differently. His diet, I think, is very important, that he's changed. He said he's in better shape. I think that's all adds to his endurance more than what his preparation is every 5th day before he starts. But what do I know?
Well, I think it would be fair to refer to him as a throwback. You know,
yes.
A guy who's not hunting strikeouts, a guy who is looking to go deeper into games.
You watch him pitch, he's effortless, like DeGrom. There's no like Scherzer, who's really awesome and having a, you know, gotta be the lead in the Cy Young, but everything into every pitch.
Max effort.
Max effort. And with Wainwright, he's not looking to throw it through a brick wall. He's painting. He's pitching. Those are the guys I love to watch. I love to watch the hard throwers too, like Scherzer. Scherzer's a beautiful pitcher.
3-2 to Sosa, and he slashes one foul. Meanwhile, in Toronto, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. just hit his 45th home run to take over the major league lead.
Wow.
Tied with Shohei Ohtani. Blue Jays are up 8-0. So Guerrero has got a legitimate chance to win a Triple Crown this year. Coming into the day, he led the league in batting average, led the American League in home runs, tied with Ohtani. Now he leads outright. And he was 5 off the pace in RBIs, slowly hit down to 3rd. And VR, low throw. It gets by Alonso, comes back to him. He's got a chance to get the man at second. Throw on target to Lindor, and he gets the tag on Sosa for the out. Good carom that time off the sidewall. Came right back to Alonso, and Sosa never hesitated around first, and he's thrown out trying to advance.
Well, nice tag by Lindor. Let's see. Now this is going to be an E5.
Yes.
And you can't anticipate the ball coming to Pete right like that. Bad throw inside the line, and nice recovery by Lindor.
That's a really nice tag, bringing that ball across to get him on the hip before
he got him.
Hit the bag.
He sure did get him.
So 2 out, and now Harrison Bader. Bader has popped up and walked 0 for 1. So Guerrero's got a legit chance to win a Triple Crown this year. And even if he does, he probably won't win the MVP.
Well, you got the guy in California.
I mean, Ohtani has accomplished things that nobody has ever done before in terms of combining pitching and hitting.
Look at that, Gary. That was lucky. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I bet would have been a run right there if it wasn't for the good carom. I'm sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to call the play right there, but that's okay. You did a nice job. That's a hit for Bader. He's on base for the second time. And Wainwright will take the turn at bat.
Folks at home, every once in a while, Gary, Ronnie, and I, we step on each other very rarely, but it happens.
The former Gator teammates renew acquaintances at first base. Wainwright swings and misses at the off-speed pitch. So how do you measure that? I mean, a few years ago, Miguel Cabrera won a Triple Crown. And there were those who felt as though he should not have won the MVP because Mike Trout, they felt, had a better season. But Cabrera did beat out Trout that year.
Well, how do you say that when you lead the league in hitting, home runs, and RBI?
Well, if you factor in defense and base running and, over other parts of the game.
I mean, it's hard to keep a...
But if you're Ohtani and you've also accomplished so much pitching-wise,
yes,
in addition to all of his offensive prowess, I mean, how do you even measure that against history? Because there is no history.
And you got California, who's pretty much out of the running.
Do you mean the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim?
Is that what I said? Didn't say.
Well, you call them California.
You know what? That's an old.
Used to be the California Angels.
That's just an old habit of mine.
I mean, they're not really the Los Angeles Angels. They play in Orange County. Not
exactly.
Not anywhere near Los Angeles.
I know. I hear you.
Be like calling the Mets the New Hampshire Mets. Line to left and a base hit for Wainwright. Bader pulls it at second. And Wainwright's got his 7th hit of the year, so back-to-back 2-out hits against Hembree.
Fastball in, got jammed a little bit, but look at he stayed level. And that's why he is a good hitting pitcher.
Of course, the other factor in that MVP discussion in the American League is the team's position in the standing.
Right.
The Angels are under 500. The Blue Jays are making this great late season run, and Guerrero has been a huge part of that. And they're sitting in playoff position now. You have to think that they'll take that into consideration.
Could it flip?
I don't know.
Boy, that's a tough one.
I mean, maybe Guerrero would have to go out and pitch a few innings.
Or hit a few more home runs and win some ball games.
Maybe if he hits 50.
And they have to get in the postseason.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the New York Mets and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. The accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the New York Mets. I've got a much harder question.
Yeah.
Who's the National League MVP? I don't think there's any clear-cut choice. I mean, Bryce Harper's been the best player the second half of the season, but his team may not make the postseason either.
Oh,
that skips in to Edman and a good pickup by McCann.
You make a very good point, Gary. That's a tough one.
I mean, there's a lot of support for Willie Adames because of the way that he changed things around when he got to Milwaukee, but his numbers really don't compute.
No,
Brandon Crawford has had a really good year for the Giants, but are they MVP caliber numbers? And one pops away from McCann, but no advance, 2-0. You know, Tatis has had a great year for San Diego, but he's missed a lot of time. Leads the league in home runs.
You had Nick Castellanos that was a front runner early,
and Jesse Winker also, and they both got hurt.
Cincinnati may not make it. I mean, they're starting to fold a little bit. Well, hit a rough patch, I should say.
Max Muncy was probably the Dodgers' best candidate, but certainly he hasn't been overwhelming. So it's going to be really interesting to see how it breaks out. And then you got Juan Soto, who's the best player in the league. Swing and a miss, right? I mean, Soto, you'd have to say right now, is the best player in the National League, wouldn't you?
He's right there.
I mean, who else is with him?
Boy.
With Acuna hurt.
But you know something about Acuna? You looked at his numbers. He was hitting on the interstate with runners in scoring position.
Right. He didn't have a great half a season, but who knows what he would have done if he'd stayed healthy.
I mean, you got Freddie Freeman is always in the conversation.
But the Braves have a lot of guys, right? It could be Riley, could be Freeman, could be Swanson, Albies. They're all having great years. Edman strikes out, and that retires the side. A couple of hits off Hembry, but he manages to put up a 0 to keep it a 3-0 game in the 6th. Cardinals have a rich history dating back to the 1800s, and their uniform has been an iconic one with the birds on the bat.
Yes. There's Big Lou. Look at that road uniform. Oh my gosh, that struck fear in the eyes of many hitter.
Who's that skinny guy?
Who's that man with the skinny legs? And there they are through the years, folks. And in 1956, they took the birds off the bat, and that's upper right-hand corner. And they had the Cardinals written across, and on the road they had St. Louis, and the St. Louis fans went absolutely ballistic, and that was promptly changed in 1957.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, the birds on the bat began in 1922, which means next year will be the centennial for the birds on the bat logo.
You are correct. 1922, Gary, was when it started, and it was a black bat, not a gold or whatever you want, yellow bat. Interesting. Well, it's a nice logo, that's for sure. Nice uni. 1976 to 1984, they wore the baby blues on the road. Sky blues or whatever.
Why did the Cardinals wear a road uniform that says Cardinals rather than one that says St. Louis? See, there's a St. Louis one with the baby blues.
Oh, that's a good question, Gary. I have no idea.
By the way, Saturday night we weren't here, but the Mets wore white home uniforms styled after the ones from 2001 in honor of the 20-year anniversary of 9/11. And for the first time ever in their history, the Mets wore a home uniform that said New York across the front.
Oh, I missed it.
Which was obviously a tribute to the city and all that it endured 20 years ago. And it was a great look, but really jarring if you are used to watching the Mets play at home with home whites with Mets across the front. This was the first time that they went with New York. Alonso leading off in the home 6th against Wainwright, who has managed trouble across 5 innings. Mets have stranded 6 runners in the first 5 innings. Alonso was walked and grounded out. Baez and McNeil to follow, with Wainwright now up to 90 pitches for the night.
Big inning for Wainwright. Change up. I mean, he's going through the teeth of the order here with Alonso Baez, and it's the 2 guys he fears more because of their potential power.
You know, every time I watch Wainwright throw a changeup, and he doesn't throw it very often, it takes me back to that dark night. You know, when he faced Beltran with the bases loaded in Game 7, he threw a first pitch changeup, a pitch that he never threw, which completely established the tone for that at bat, and then he got him out with curveballs after that.
Well, I can.
Strike 3 call, got him on a curveball.
That one just hung inside and froze Pete. That happens. It's not intentional. Look where Yadi Molina set up, outside corner. Look where that happened. And you freeze as a hitter. Starts at your elbow, and it breaks on the inside corner, and it just freezes you. What was the comment you made prior to the strikeout, Karen?
We're talking about Wainwright starting Beltran with a changeup.
Yes, it put. You said it changed the whole tone for the at bat. Yes, because it put. I think it put Carlos on his heels, because not only is it a big spot, I'm 0-1 against a guy with a great curveball, and he throws me a changeup first pitch. So really, it was a gutty call.
It was by Molina and by Wainwright, who was just a rookie at the time. Miguel Castro getting ready to pitch the 7th inning. It's hard to believe that these guys are still tormenting the Mets 15 years later. 1-2 to Baez. You know, Molina hits the home run in the top of the 9th off Aaron Heilman.
Yep.
Wainwright finishes the game off, just breaks the Mets' hearts, and here they are 15 years later, and they're still doing it.
Yep. It was a stunning home run. Silenced the stadium. It was a shocker. It's a heck of a series. Hard fought. Could have gone either way. And I really felt it was the best Met team of that, of this century. You feel that you agree, Gary?
Yeah, I think so. I think they were loaded that year.
Yep.
And, they obviously went into the postseason struggling for healthy pitching, and that made the difference in the end. 3-2 to Baez. Also, their best relievers didn't pitch well in the series. Howman and Wagner both had moments. I mean, Wagner gave up the home run to Sotoguchi that cost them a game, and Howman gave up the home run to Molina. But the fact that Ali Perez was pressed into service, that's because Pedro was hurt and El Duque got hurt right before the postseason. And that really hurt them. And Baez strikes out, but it goes to the backstop, and he'll reach first base safely.
That's 2 now.
That'll be a wild pitch charge to Wainwright.
But look at on the one knee, and he just didn't block it.
Right through the five.
That's because they got these guys on one knee, and you don't see that happening.
So Molina, who was earlier charged with a pass ball, now has a wild pitch go between his legs, and perhaps that'll give the Mets some life here in the 6th inning. Baez aboard with 1 out for McNeil.
Oh boy.
McNeil has struck out and grounded out 0 for 2. Cardinals are going to get their bullpen going now, with Wainwright about to throw his 100th pitch of the night. And McNeil rolls one to the right side. Edman is going to go first with it and gets the out as Baez goes to second.
That was a big up hop to Edman there, but he kept his body in front. Very seldom do you see a bad hop here. This ball came up. No, maybe not. But that's just good fundamentals. 2 hands, body in front.
That's why you have that bare hand alligator above the glove, right?
That's right.
So 2 out Baez at second. Here's Pilar, who had an infield hit in the 2nd and then popped up in the 4th. Mets have been shut out on 4 hits so far after scoring 24 runs in 3 games over the weekend against the Yankees. Wainwright right at 100 pitches for the night. It's the 13th time in 29 starts that Wainwright has thrown at least 100 pitches. He's topped out at 113. TJ McFarland is the first man up in the Cardinal bullpen. Pilar chases a cutter, and it's 0-2.
2 straight cutters in the same spot. Starting out as strikes and breaking away outside. Expanding the strike zone.
Wainwright in the last full season 2 years ago went 14-10, 4.19. He's been even better this year, going for his 16th win tonight with an ERA under 3. He has just been amazing at age 40. Curveball drilled to left, but O'Neill is there, and that retires the side. Wainwright through his 6th scoreless. He's got a 3-0 lead. Cardinals as we go to the 7th. Let's answer our Nissan trivia question. We asked who has the most RBIs against the Mets as a Cardinal. I was going to go with Ray Lankford. How about you? What do you got?
I haven't got anything.
Okay.
Duh.
Well,
he moved. That's right. He went to the American
League.
League.
Milwaukee. So, how many years did he have
in St. Louis?
Yeah, 10 years in St. Louis.
Came up in '68.
You know who's number 2 on that list?
Who?
Lou Brock.
Oh, Lou. Of course. Well, Lou played a long time against the Mets, did he not?
Ted Simmons just inducted into the Hall of Fame. Here's Lou.
Big Lou
stealing Ted's thunder.
Ted came up in '68, I believe. So he was traded in
13 years as a Cardinal.
Yep.
I didn't realize it was that long. And he played against you in '82, right? As a Brewer.
Yes, he did.
Miguel Castro on to pitch for the Mets in the 7th. He gave a great speech.
Yes, he did.
I thought he really was right on top. Paul Goldschmidt's had a big hand in this game. RBI single in the 3rd. His 25th home run in the 5th. Adam Wainwright has done the rest. And Goldschmidt goes down on 3 pitches. High changeup that time from Castro to get him. 1 out.
Well, Castro can make you look. Oh, it's a slider here.
Yeah.
Upstairs.
Now Tyler O'Neill is 0 for 2 on a walk, and he takes a fastball for a strike. So 3rd on the list is Willie McGee with 70 RBIs against the Mets.
Okay.
And 4th on the list is some guy named Hernandez.
How many did I have?
68.
I think if I hadn't been traded.
Popped up down the left field line over toward that short fence and out of play.
I'd have had to face all those Met starters. Doc, Ron, Ojeda, Sid, Coney. Oh no.
There is rain in our ballpark. And there's some thunderstorms coming.
Let me get on the radar here, Gil. Let's see how. Well. Yep. Ouch.
O'Neill grounds one into the shift. Baez on the backhand, the long throw.
Save.
And just got him. Very close play. We'll see if the Cardinals challenge it. Baez playing on the outfield grass in that shift. That's a really long throw to make. And we'll see if they got him. The Cardinals are going to challenge the call. And he was
clearly
safe by quite a bit. Junior Valentine made the call, but remember he's been hitting the head tonight.
Yes. This should be a quick one.
So that'll be an infield hit for O'Neill.
Oh boy.
Get to Citi Field Sunday, September 19th. The Mets take on the Phillies. All fans will receive a code to access the Mets 2022 digital schedule, courtesy of Hyundai. For tickets, go to Mets.com/tickets.
There's one little blob that's moving very quickly from the west with a lot of lightning, and it could be nasty.
Does that headset hurt Junior when he puts it on right on top of that wound?
Safe.
And they do very quickly overturn the call. Ted Barrett and Den Iasonia, the crew chiefs in the replay center. Didn't take long to get that right. We've seen this a bit, Heath, when the Mets play in the shift, where the second baseman, Baez in this case, will play on the outfield grass, which maybe you can do against a guy like Molina. I'm not sure you can do it against a guy like O'Neill who can get down the line.
I agree. And if you do, you can't sit back and wait on the ground ball. You got to come get it.
There's Arenado, who's 0 for 3. Flied out, struck out, lined out. You know, you were scoffing at the Miami-Washington game tonight.
Yes.
Sandy Alcantara, though, made a pretty significant no-hit bid. He wound up going 8, allowed 1 hit.
And he's winning 3-0. Yep.
Yep. And Castro runs the fastball inside, 1-1. Now there's Nolan Arenado right behind Adam Duvall for RBI lead in the National League. Aguilar has been hurt, so he's fallen back. And another pitch inside, this time a changeup, and it's 2-1 to Arenado. O'Neill at first has 11 stolen bases this year, so you have to be wary of him. Molina on deck. Rich Hill went 5, allowed 3 runs, 6 hits. Heath Hembry worked an inning, no runs, 2 hits, and now Castro pitching in the 7th, trying to keep this game where it is. Give the Mets a chance against the Cardinals bullpen. You have to figure Wainwright is done after 103 pitches in 6 innings. And the Mets will be just as happy to put Wainwright in their rearview mirror.
Well, we got 3 more cracks at the Cardinals.
O'Neill runs. McCann's throw on target, but too late. O'Neill got a great jump and steals his 12th of the year.
And he can run. That's 3-1 count. Let's see what kind of alteration now approach Arenado makes, where a base hit drives in an important run here and the right side of the infield open. And Baez moving a little bit over, but he still has got a lot of space to the right side.
And Arenado chases a high slider, and it's 3-2. It's the same pitch Castro struck out Goldschmidt on. And Arenado fouls it back.
Arenado's got only 85 strikeouts on the year. That's low in today's game. Goldschmidt has 123.
O'Neill's got 145
and 135 for Carlson.
Oh, ripped down the left field line, but foul.
Just quick with a hanging slider right there. He's saying he balked.
Did he?
I didn't see it. There's nothing else he could be saying. I mean,
right. This will be the 8th pitch from Castro to Arenado. And a foul tip held by McCann, and he got him.
That's a good pitch right there.
Change up on 3-2 at 94 miles an hour.
Good sinking change. Knee high, starts out knee high and sinks out of the strike zone. That's just really a good pitch. Had Arenado out in front.
So 2 out. O'Neill still at second, and now Yadier Molina. Molina's 2 for 3 tonight, a single and a double. His lifetime batting average at Citi Field is now .324, which is his highest in any National League park.
Now, we were talking about infielders playing, Baez playing out in the outfield. Both Lindor and Baez now are in the outfield because Molina doesn't run at all. So that's acceptable, right, Gare?
And unlike that 3rd inning at bat where he shot one through the right side, they are not overshifted. Baez playing on the right side. Then this one's lined toward the middle, and there's Baez to snag it, and that retires the side. A hit and 1 left. Stretch time at Citi Field. Mets down 3. Box score brought to you by Spectrum Mobile. Save up to 40% at SpectrumMobile.com. Not much going on for the Mets tonight. They managed just 4 hits over 6 innings against Adam Wainwright. And now the Cardinals will go to their bullpen for the bottom of the 7th. Veteran left-hander T.J. McFarland is in.
Well, he's got 26 appearances and a nice sparkling earned run average. No walks, sinker slider. Cardinal bullpen has an ERA of a combined ERA of 4.13.
on the season.
McFarland previously pitched in Baltimore and Arizona. Last year in Oakland, he was signed by Washington and then released on July 1st. Never pitched for the Nationals. Picked up out of the Cardinals, and he's having his best season since he joined St. Louis. Go figure. James McCann will lead off. J.D. Davis on deck to pinch hit. And then Jonathan Villar against McFarland in the 7th. You want to get right-hand hitters up against McFarland. The lefty's hitting under 130 against him. McCann 0 for 2. Lined out to short. A nice play by Sosa his last time up. And the sinker misses outside for ball 1. Adam Wainwright threw 103 pitches over 6 innings. Allowed no runs and 4 hits. There's J.D. on deck. 3 walks, 4 strikeouts. 1 wild pitch. In line for his 16th win of the year. And McCann takes a sinker for a strike.
Well, one thing we've been seeing since the Mets gotten kind of healthy is they've got Louis has a very strong bench to draw on late in games from both sides of the plate.
Well, got a pinch hit double out of Dom Smith in the 5th, but the Mets couldn't do anything with that. Now he's got Davis pinch hitting. It'll be interesting to see how Mike Schilt uses his bullpen tonight. His closer is Giovanni Gallegos, but Gallegos has worked 2 days in a row and 4 of the last 5, so he might not be available tonight.
And Reyes, it can be wild as a March hare. He lost his job to Gallegos.
That's Alex Reyes. Also, Hennessy's Cabrera, one of their left-handers, has worked the last 2 days. So they may have to go with a slightly different formula for the final 3 innings tonight. McFarland pitching the 7th. 2-2 to McCann. And James bounces one down to third. Arenado's got the hop. And the throw is true. 1 away. Our next Picks telecast is tomorrow when the Mets again meet the Cardinals. Coverage begins at 6:30 with Spectrum pregame right here on Picks 11, New York's very own. Yency Diaz, Trevor May, both up in the Mets bullpen. Mets will probably be staying away from Seth Lugo and Brad Hand. They've each worked each of the last 2 days. Here's J.D., who's done a great job pinch hitting. Into a fielder's choice last night after picking up a pinch hit double on Saturday.
Good change right there.
.32-year-old T.J. McFarland. His 9th big league season. And Davis lays off that changeup, a ball and a strike. Cardinals 3 runs and 9 hits. The Mets no runs and 4 hits. The Mets' best chance came in the 1st inning when they loaded the bases with 2 out against Wainwright. But he struck out McNeil on 3 pitches, and the Mets have not been able to forge a big threat since. Davis tops one foul on the sinker. 1-2. Rain falling a little bit harder. Just enough to make the helmet glisten. Davis lays off the slider. 2-2. Jonathan Villar waiting on deck. The Padres and Giants are underway in San Francisco. Padres trying to get themselves turned right back in the right direction. But facing a Giants team that's won 7 straight and has a chance to clinch a postseason berth tonight. Padres did not score in the 1st inning. Race tied for the second wild card with Cincinnati. Reds are off tonight. They'll be in Pittsburgh tomorrow. Cardinals are a game behind that pair. Phillies 2.5, and then the Mets 3. Making every one of these games this week enormously important. With 3 against the Cardinals and then 3 against the Phillies.
Oh, a little breeze picking up, Gary.
Yeah, well, the thunderstorm's about to blow through. Two from McFarland, and Davis hits one toward the middle of the diamond. That's a base hit. So J.D. bangs one back up the middle on a 2-2 sinker, and the Mets have a 1-out base runner in the 7th.
Nice at bat by J.D. Really hung in there.
So the Met pinch hitters 2 for 2 tonight. Dom and now J.D.
Top of the order.
J.D. now 8 for 18 as a pinch hitter this year. Really good. Mets have had a lot of guys have success as pinch hitters. Brandon Drury had that great run earlier this year. Mets have some of the best pinch hitting numbers in the major leagues this season. Here's VR, who's 1 for 3 at a base hit back in the first. 2 for 9 in his career against McFarland. And he takes a sinker in the dirt for ball 1. Well, you got Lindor and then Conforto and then Alonso behind VR. So if Jonathan can get on, the Mets can make some trouble here in the 7th. Good trouble.
Got Lindor from the right side.
Fastball pops in for a strike. VR did not think so. Jerry Meals called it on the inside corner. 1-1. And the changeup down. 2-1. Well, Tommy La Stella homered in the first inning against Yu Darvish. Giants 1, Padres nothing. They are irrepressible, those Giants.
Yes, they are.
Going for their 94th win tonight. They have the most wins in the major leagues. Go back to preseason predictions. I don't think you'd be hard pressed to find anybody who had that on their dance card. And VR takes outside, and it's 3-1. Out of town scores brought to you by Ford. Visit buyfordnow.com. Toronto looking for their 4th straight win. Miami behind Sandy Alcantara's gem. Yankees rallied from 5 down to beat the Twins in their makeup game. What new? 3-1. VR lines one, but caught by Edman, scrambling to get back, and doubled off is Davis. Side retired. A bullet off the bat of VR. Mets have hit some serious hard luck tonight.
They sure have.
A 4-3 double play as Edman snags the line drive and doubles Davis off first. For an hour of highlights, scores, interviews, and insight, catch Sports Nation Sunday night at 11 right here on Pix 11, New York's very own. Well, the rain has picked up. Bill Deacon, the head groundskeeper, was out with his iPad to consult with Jerry Meals, the home plate umpire, but they're going to play on for now.
Looks like we have a lot of young elementary school students out there in the yellow raincoats. Reminds me of when I was a young lass, Gary. Mom put me in those yellow.
Did you say you were a young lass?
Yes.
It's like the old Islander logo. We're going to the 8th inning. Yency Diaz will try and hold the fort with the Mets down 3-0.
Oh, there's Yency's numbers. They've kind of leaned on him. He's got a rubber arm. And, you know, he comes in and throws strikes.
Finished the game Friday against the Yankees with a big lead. Gave up a home run to Anthony Rizzo, then retired the next 3. He'll face Dylan Carlson leading off in the top of the 8th. Infield has changed color from the rain. Not yet seeing the shiny standing water, but probably only a matter of time. Carlson drove in the first run of this game with a second inning double. And he takes a changeup high from Diaz, ball 1. Rich Hill went 5, allowed 3 runs, 6 hits. Heath Hembry and Miguel Castro each worked around trouble for a scoreless inning. Another good changeup by Diaz to get even on Carlson, 1-1. Edmundo Sosa is on deck. Browns crew at the ready. Lamont Wade RBI triple. Giants 2, Padres nothing, still in the first. 2-1 to Carlson. Playing in the rain. As a fan, there was only one thing that troubled me. About watching a game in the rain.
What? Lightning?
No. My scorecard.
Oh, your scorecard. Well, Gar, you know, when you sit in the upper tank, that goes with the territory. You could have splurged a little more, a little extra, get a little loge, the loge seats.
You know, I didn't have connections like you did, kid.
There was a section at Shea called Loge, the Loge section, right?
That was right above field level. Those were the best seats.
Oh, okay.
They were brown at first. They were supposed to be orange, but they were really brown. And it's in the batter's box. It's a foul ball. Originally, the seats at Shea were yellow in the field level, orange brown in the loge, blue in the mezzanine, and green in the upper deck.
I always thought
they changed the colors when they went to the plastic seats, and they were red down below in field level, blue in the loge.
And what color were your seats? In the upper tank.
Upper deck?
Yeah.
Fly ball out to center. And Carlson's got it 1 out. I just remember the upper deck being green when they had the wooden seats.
Do I remember correctly when I came up in '74 and '75? I thought that the seats were kind of drab in color.
Well, they were, because they were faded at that point, because they were wooden and they'd gone through, 13, 14 years of weather at that point. Yeah, that's the remarkable thing about Dodger Stadium. You think it was built 2 years before Shea, and doesn't get the weather that New York gets, and so it is held up incredibly well.
And see there, Gary, you notice those seats?
Yeah.
You could have bought there, never worry about your scorecard.
Well, that's true, but you can't see the fly balls from there because you have the overhang.
Like here?
Like here. Exactly. Right. So after the plastic seats went in, the field level was orange. The loge was blue, the mezzanine was green, and the upper deck was red.
I think you're obsessing on this.
No, I'm just trying to.
It's a little history.
Relate to people who weren't fortunate enough to see Shea in all of its incarnations. Because, the outfield fence at the beginning was green also. It's grounded to third, grabbed by VR. And then they changed to a blue outfield fence by the time you got there.
Okay, I forget. The only thing I remember about Shea, and I remember I grew up 3,000 miles west, so I don't have the historic sense that you do. You grew up here and as a Met fan and came here. So my history starts in 1974 when I came in September for my first 3-game series at Shea, and I remember how tall it was, how cavernous, and how drab the seats were.
And the cats. Don't forget the cats. Harrison Bader takes fastball low for ball 1. Bader's Been on base twice with a walk and a single.
The visiting clubhouse was musty. If I remember correctly, Gare. It wasn't a terribly large clubhouse.
Pitcher spot due up next for the Cardinals. Lars Nootbaar has come out on deck to pinch hit. Alex Reyes is up in the bullpen for St. Louis. 2-0 to Bader. And he gets one in the air to deep left center field. Back toward the wall. McNeil watches it go off the wall. Into second base goes Bader with a 2-out double. Bader didn't miss a home run by much. He's got his second hit of the night back in his hometown.
High fastball. So that brings up Nootbaar. Sounds like a candy bar.
Well, if Lars ever becomes a star, I will guarantee you that someone in St. Louis will be manufacturing the Nootbaar. You know, it's like Reggie Jackson said, if I played in New York, they'd name a candy bar after me. And they did.
Yes, they did.
The Reggie Bar.
Babe Ruth.
Except the Baby Ruth wasn't named after Babe Ruth.
Right.
It's named after, was it Grover Cleveland's daughter?
Oh, so it was perfect for Babe.
Just worked out that way.
Just lucky.
So now Nootbaar just turned 24 years old. USC product. Rookie hitting .217 through his first 83 at bats, 3 home runs. And Nootbaar pops one up into shallow right. On comes Conforto looking through the raindrops. And he makes the catch. That wasn't easy. That retires the side. We go to the bottom of the 8th. Mets looking for some runs. Down 3-0. In 1959, when he was 73 years old, was asked, what would you hit against today's pitching? He said, about 300. He said, got to remember, I'm 73.
In 1959.
What was Ty's lifetime batting average? 340 something? Elizabeth, New Jersey native Alex Reyes on to pitch in the 8th inning for St. Louis.
Well, he was the closer, and he pitched himself right out of it. He really blew up like a hydrogen bomb. And right there you look at the walks, folks. And this is 45 walks in 64 innings. That's Rolaide's headache number 212. He's a strikeout guy. And the Cardinals bullpen is a little bit worn out, and Mike Schilt is hoping to get an inning out of this guy right through the teeth of the order.
Francisco Lindor leads off in the home 8th and takes a fastball high. Lindor, Conforto, and Alonso up for the Mets, who have been limited to 5 hits tonight. Adam Wainwright went the first 6 innings. T.J. McFarland got a little fortunate in the 7th, giving up a hit, then a line drive double play. Been a lot of that tonight. Mets have hit some balls hard that have turned into outs, but now they need some production late in this game.
The Mets have hit in hard luck in this game. Some balls, couple balls hit hard with men on base.
Giants, by the way, put up a 5 spot in that first inning against Yu Darvish. Evan Longoria added a home run. So the Mets and Cardinals getting some help in the wild card race, with the Giants leading the Padres 5-0 in the second inning. If the Padres lose, then Cincinnati would have the lead for the second wild card at the end of the night. The Reds are off tonight. 3-0 to Lindor. And he takes a strike, 3-1. Alex Reyes first came up with the Cardinals in 2016, but he has been oft injured. Finally healthy this year for the first time. Throws a fastball by Lindor, 3-2.
Can he do 3 in a row, Gary? Two great pitchers there. 45 Bob Gibson on the shoulder. 41 Seaver on the Mets.
And Lindor just got a piece on a 3-2 changeup. 3 home runs last night for Lindor. First time in his career he's done that.
Well, I tell you what, it's the best game he's ever had offensively in a Met uniform. This was quite a night for him. Anytime anybody hits 3 home runs, but they were key home runs.
And hit him from both sides of the plate. Third time in his career he's done that. There's ball 4. And so Lindor is on for the 3rd time tonight. A leadoff walk to start the bottom of the 8th. So Reyes, who is prone to wildness, walks the first man to face him, pitching in the rain at Citi Field. And the rain has only gotten harder as the minutes have gone past.
Well, you know you're going to get fastballs on this guy. He's out there. You saw him put his head down when he walked Lindor. So he knows that he's got control issues. So all the balls out of the strike zone, Gary, were up in the strike zone. Make him get it down.
Conforto 0 for 3, lined out his last time up, and he takes a fastball for a strike. By the way, I shortchanged Ty Cobb. 366 lifetime.
I thought it was something ridiculous. He probably never had a bad day at the ballpark.
Well, he got suspended for 1 day. You know that story, right? Pulled down the hole and a base hit just past Goldschmidt. Lindor will go first to third, and the Mets will get Alonso to the plate as the tying run. Well, we saw Goldschmidt catch Conforto's line drive last time up because he barely came off the bag. This time it cost him on a ball hit to his right.
Fastball right down the old Piperoni. If there's no leadoff walk and Goldschmidt's playing back, it's 2 outs. That's the difference right there. He's got to hold the runner on. It gets through.
So now a chance for Alonso, who was trying to fight out of an 0 for 15 slump. First and third, nobody out. Pete coming to the plate as the tying run. And Mike Maddox out to try and counsel Alex Reyes, who's gotten off to a rocky start.
Well, what do you tell him? I mean, this is a guy that's just got a raw stuff, out of no control, just a thrower. You're going to have him risk a slider. I mean, you're looking for a fastball here.
Cardinals get Luis Garcia up in the bullpen. Alonso, the 3rd man to face Reyes. Baez on deck. Pete's 0 for 2 and a walk tonight. 0 for his last 15. And Pete pops one up foul. Molina coming back, hoping for a play right at the railing, but it lands just behind the first row.
Yeah, he's hoping. That's a big out right there, getting Pete out. Pete's got to make him get it down. He swung at a pitch out of the strike zone.
Outfield playing very deep. Lindor at third, Conforto at first. And that goes inside, and did it hit him?
No. Let me tell you, that was some serious chin music.
And Conforto did not advance. Conforto thought that ball hit Alonso, so he stopped running.
He can't assume.
He thought it hit him, and he's asking the first base umpire because he should be on second base.
Yes, he should.
You can understand Lindor not scoring because the ball was still pretty close to home plate. But he also thought the ball hit Alonso. And he didn't know what to do. So Pete able to get out of the way, and the runners stay at first and third. 1-1 count with nobody out. And that fastball in for a strike. Borderline pitch, and it's 1-2.
There it is right here, folks. That is that ball running in on him. That will get your attention. That is as good a knockdown pitch, even though it was unintentional. My goodness.
Well, it's part of being effectively wild, right?
Yep. And it's like James Bond and that Maserati, that Austin Martin pushing the ejector button. Bail out.
1-2. Struck him out with the breaking ball.
Oh, wicked breaking ball.
So Reyes gets a big first out as he fans Alonso.
Oh, my. First slider he's thrown. Secondary pitch. And it's a good one. Wow. Right to the glove. And that's what he can do. He can do that to you in 3 pitches, or he can be all over the place.
So now Baez, who has some history against Reyes, 3 for 6 with a home run against this right-hander. Javi tonight has walked, grounded out, and then struck out, but reached first base on a wild pitch. Tying run at the plate in a 3-0 game in the 8th. And Javi takes a fastball for a strike, and he thought that pitch was low. So all of a sudden, late in the game, Jerry Meal's strike zone is opening up.
Well, if that little box is the correct strike zone, it was a knee-high strike.
But he didn't call that pitch earlier in the game. As the thunder rumbles, Baez takes a fastball inside, 1-1.
Oh, and serious lightning.
We are likely to have a stoppage at some point. It would behoove the Mets to get runs quickly.
No wonder the ancients thought that there were gods up there.
And when caught Molina, 1-2.
Thumb.
All 3 outfielders playing crazy deep against Baez, trying to prevent the extra base hit that would put the tying run in scoring position. Reyes ahead of him, 1-2. Molina asks for time. Baez coming off a 7-for-12 series against the Yankees, looking for his first hit of the night. And that bounces into Molina, who smothers it.
What a block again. I think he went forward to get this.
Well, he uses that chest protector as a pillow.
That's what you're supposed to do. Okay, there's your one breaking ball. He can't afford to throw another one. You go 3-2.
Jeff McNeil on deck. 2-2 to Baez. And did he chase? He did. Strike 3. Couldn't stop the swing on the slider. And Reyes has back-to-back strikeouts with that slider, getting Alonso and Baez.
Well, he threw back-to-back sliders. Not one for a strike. It's a hard slider. It's tough to lay off.
And Javi knew he'd gone too far. So 2 out and is left to McNeil. Jeff is 0 for 3 tonight, a strikeout and 2 groundouts. Boy, could he use a big hit, and so could this team. Jeff McNeil, with runners in scoring position this year, came into the night hitting .181. He struck out with the bases loaded to end the first inning. Gets himself another opportunity here with 2 out in the 8th. Good changeup by Reyes, 1-1.
And just keeping the ball away from Jeff, because Jeff's got that swing where he likes to run to first base. So the whole entire game, they've been targeting Jeff predominantly outside corner.
Lindor walked to start the inning. Conforto followed with a base hit. Reyes has responded by striking out the next two. And McNeil takes a fastball on the outside corner, and it's 1-2.
Very deep outfield. Bader in center field is way deep. This is on the corner. That's just a good pitch. All outfielders deep.
One-two coming. Defensive cut to stay alive. Even if you're not having your best season, when you get deep into a pennant race, you can provide moments that salvage an otherwise difficult year. And McNeil foul tips it for strike 3.
Wow.
And he comes up empty again. 3 strikeouts in a row for Reyes to strand 2 in the bottom of the 8th. 3-0 Cardinals going to the 9th. Infinity, we're getting late enough that we're showing you all but the last week of the season.
That's right.
2 more games with the Cardinals, 3 over the weekend with the Phillies. Then the Mets go to Boston for 2 and Milwaukee for 3.
Yep.
And that last week, 4 with the Marlins at home, 3 with the Braves on the road to finish the season.
Surprisingly, there are 3 scheduled off days late in September. That's rare.
Jeff McNeil will have much to think about when this year is over.
Well, there's still 17 games.
Tonight, 2 big at bats, 2 big strikeouts, 5 runners left on base for McNeil. Mets who scored 24 runs in 3 games against the Yankees have been held scoreless for the first 8 in this one. Yency Diaz, who worked a scoreless 8th inning, will stay on for the 9th. And there's nobody up in the Cardinals bullpen, so it looks like Alex Reyes might be asked to get a 6-out save tonight. There's a lot of heavy lifting he did in the 8th. Here's Tommy Edman at the top of the batting order for St. Louis. 1 for 4 tonight, a double back in the 3rd. Turning around to bat left-handed, and he swings and misses, 0-1. Rich Hill went the first 5, gave up all 3 runs, single runs in the 2nd, 3rd, and 5th. The last one coming on Goldschmidt's home run. Good fastball by Diaz, 0-2.
Well, Edman doesn't like that ball upstairs, and he keeps fishing after it.
Mets bullpen has thrown 3 scoreless innings, 1 apiece for Hembree, Castro, and Diaz. And now Diaz trying to go a 2nd inning. And Edman is down on strikes. That's the first strikeout for Yency Diaz. 1 down in the top of the 9th. And now Goldschmidt, who has driven in 2 of the 3 St. Louis runs with a single and a home run. That's a lot of the lower 3rd of the order coming up in the bottom of the 9th. Pilar, McCann, and the pitcher spot due up. And Goldschmidt takes a slider outside for ball 1. Off the outside corner, and it's 3-0.
Got to be careful here. Could give Goldschmidt the hit sign.
Swinging, and he pops it up. See if it stays in play. Lindor right near the tarp, reaching in, and he can't quite get there. Screen got in the way. So Goldschmidt swinging 3-0, and Lindor almost got to it. Well, Luis Garcia is up again in the Cardinals bullpen. The veteran former Philly. Would they close with Garcia?
I think they're going to run Reyes out there and have Garcia as a little insurance.
23 pitches in that inning for Reyes.
23?
Yeah.
Oh, he's a big, strong guy.
Garcia has 6 saves in his career. The last one came 2 years ago with the Angels. And Goldschmidt takes below the knees ball 4. So he's on base for the 3rd time tonight with a 1-out walk.
Now's the time where you have to really be careful with Goldschmidt trying to steal one here. Early in the count, too.
There's Tyler O'Neill, who has a walk and an infield hit. He's stolen a base. Of course, the track's a little slow, which might make it tougher for Goldschmidt.
It's true.
Spin your wheels in that mud. And a knee-high strike with a changeup. 0-1. Full shift on against McNeil. 3 infielders on the left side. There goes Goldschmidt.
What did I tell you?
And it goes to the backstop. Stolen base for Goldschmidt, his 12th of the year.
What did I tell you, Gary? Those KG veterans, you pick the right spot to steal your bases. That's his 12th stolen base. He's never been caught. If that ball was a perfect throw for the catcher, pitch for the catcher to throw, you'd have been safe. You had a great jump. You pick your spots either early in the game or late when it's close.
What's wrong with the middle?
Depends. If you're going to sneak.
That's lined into left field. A base hit for O'Neill. Goldschmidt goes to 3rd. He'll stop there. So O'Neill has his 2nd hit of the night. And the Cardinals looking to add on, have 1st and 3rd and 1 out.
With Arenado up. And McNeil playing shallow, nicely charged. No chance to advance.
So now Nolan Arenado, who's 0 for 4 tonight. Flied out, struck out twice, lined out.
It's a big run out there for the Arenado to drive in.
Goldschmidt at 3rd. O'Neill with good speed as well at 1st. He's already stolen a base tonight. Arenado takes a fastball high.
I don't think O'Neill's going to be going anywhere. Let our Arenado hit.
There goes O'Neill.
Wow.
Popped up, shallow right. O'Neill's got to scramble back. Out goes Baez, sliding, can't get it. Base hit. Goldschmidt comes in to score. O'Neill's safe at 2nd. A pop fly single for Arenado. Tacks on a run, and it's 4-0 St. Louis. That ball was in the air a long time, but neither Conforto nor Baez could get there.
Well, good base running by the Cardinals. Both runners. And I'm surprised he was running. Just out of the reach of Baez. And he makes that catch. Goldschmidt's halfway, as he should have been.
Well, Baez was going to cover the bag.
So Goldschmidt's halfway. That's perfect. And he can walk home. The back runner has it tough because he can get forced out.
Well, with O'Neill running, that forced Baez to go cover second base.
Right.
That's why he didn't get to that pop-up.
That forced the issue, did it not? So the Cardinals being aggressive. Arenado will take that RBI.
So it's now a 4-run St. Louis lead and a chance for more with Molina, who's already got 2 hits tonight, a single and a double. Lined out to short his last time up. And a Yachty chant from the Cardinals fans in attendance in this small crowd. Ball strike to Molina.
Yeah, I see some red down there by the Cardinal dugout.
Well, now they get Cody Whitley up alongside Garcia in the bullpen.
Well, that's if they blow this game open, you know.
Toward the hole, base hit. Around third comes O'Neill. He's going to try to score. McNeil's throw to the plate is cut off. All the way to third goes Arenado, and now they've got the runner hung up between first and second, Molina. And they let him go.
Pete.
Alonso holding the ball as Molina ran onto the grass to try and get in the way of his throw. It's an RBI single for Molina, and he moves up.
Well, here's the base hit. Fastball outer half, not away enough, and belt high, just out of the reach of Lindor. And this guy can fly, even though it's a big wide turn. No one covering third. And Pete doesn't know what to do. You cannot let the runner advance. You've got to force the run down.
That's a smart play by Molina, though, to run onto the grass in an attempt to get in the way of Alonso's throwing path. So wheels are coming off here in the ninth. Dylan Carlson is now intentionally walked to load up the bases for Edmundo Sosa. So a pop fly that just falls in and a ground ball that just finds the hole, and each one drives in a run. The R had nobody to throw to as Arenado slid in safely.
So aggressive base running by the Cardinals.
So 5-0 St. Louis and a chance for more with Sosa, who's gone 0 for 4 tonight. A walk to Goldschmidt started this. He stole second. O'Neill singled him to third. Arenado hit the pop fly that fell in for a hit to drive in 1 run, and Molina, with his 3rd hit of the night, found the hole for another. And then the Mets botching what should have been a rundown play by allowing Molina to go to second base without a throw.
You've got to continue to get the rundown, and then it's up to you to get that one throw and get that runner out, so the runner Arenado at third can't advance home. I mean, Molina's out of nowhere, Len, and that's really his fault doing that. He should not have. He was caught dead to rights.
He did that on purpose to get into Alonso's throwing path.
Well, yes, but he should never gotten it. He should never taken the wide turn. Is what I'm saying. The run's in, and the runner advanced to third. Gary, he's out there in the middle. He gets in a proper rundown. It's 2 outs.
Absolutely. I'm just giving Molina credit for coming in on the grass to get in Alonso's way, which is what sowed the confusion in Pete's mind and made him hold the ball.
So it was a comedy of errors there. Multiple errors out in that play.
And by the way, just to clarify for folks who may not understand, as a runner, you establish your own baseline. You can run on the grass as long as you're not doing it to avoid a tag.
Right.
It's perfectly legal to do that.
It's like rounding a base.
Right.
You can round you go way far out of the line as you want.
Loop the other way. Boy. That's a base hit for Sosa. In to score is Arenado. Everybody else moves up a base. And the Cardinals have blown the doors off this game with a 3-run 9th inning. It's now 6-0 St. Louis.
No. Good hitting here on top of the plate and going right with the pitch. And that's going to be all for Mr. Diaz.
Trevor Williams has been warming up in the bullpen. He'll come on to pitch, but this horse is out of the barn.
They can probably sit down Reyes now.
So Diaz out after an inning and a third. 6 straight base runners for the Cardinals. Called to the bullpen brought to you by McDonald's. Trevor Williams will try and mop it up. Exhilarating weekend. It has been a blah kind of a night for the Mets. Playing in the rain, down 6-0 to the Cardinals, one of the teams they're chasing in the wild card race. After tonight, just 17 games left to play.
There's 6 back in the loss column. All is not lost. There's one thing that'll happen tomorrow, folks. The sun will rise.
So you're saying if they lose tonight, there'll be 7 back in the loss column with 17 to play? That's a historic number. 7 out with 17 to play. Where have I heard that before? As Harrison Bader is 2 for 3 and a walk. Oh yeah, 2007. Remember, Keith? Swing and a miss, nothing in 1.
Was that it?
Mets were up by 7 with 17 to play against the Phillies.
That's right. And there's Trevor Williams. Will be his third relief appearance for the Mets, I believe.
One to Bader. Matt Carpenter's out on deck to pinch hit. Bader, the 8th man up in the inning. The last 6 Cardinals have all reached base, starting with a walk to Goldschmidt, who stole second. O'Neill single. Arenado with a bloop single to drive in a run. Molina with a single to drive in a run. An intentional walk to Carlson. Sosa with a single to drive in a run. And now Bader flicks one into right, and that's a base hit. That'll bring in Molina. And now they're going to wave around the next runner, but Carlson will go back to third. Third base coach Pop Warner was a little confused there. He was waving him home, and then he sort of stopped.
They got enough runs.
Anyway, it's 7-0 as Bader picks up his 3rd hit of the night.
Boy, this has just been a big inning, and it's all no home runs. Oh my gosh, they've actually bunched hits. Thought that was an impossibility. A little late break there by Carlson.
Then he started him, then he stopped him.
And you got a late break too. There was no way anybody was going to catch that ball.
Now the veteran Matt Carpenter, who's just had a nightmarish season in a part-time role, hitting just 170 with a 582 OPS. Wow.
Is that muy malo?
It's really bad. Still bases loaded, 1 out. 7 straight Cardinals have reached base. RBI singles for Arenado, Molina, Sosa, and now Bader.
And it looks very, very positive, I should say, that Mr. Wainwright is going to win number 16.
Well, that's how the night began. Padres are down 5-1 to the Giants in the 3rd. The Reds are off. The Phillies are off. So it looks like the only team among those, other than the Padres, who will lose ground would be the Mets, who would fall 3.5 behind Cincinnati. The Cardinals would be a half game behind the Reds if they win. Carpenter down on strikes, and that's the 2nd out.
And they have batted around.
Well, Tommy Edman led off this inning, and all was well for Yency Diaz, who struck out Edman on 3 pitches.
Sure did.
And then it all tumbled down from there. Edman's 1 for 5 tonight. Cardinals 7 runs and 15 hits. The Mets no runs and 6 hits. And the Mets will need a quick bounce back tomorrow night. Can understand a letdown after all the emotions of the weekend. You can't let that linger. That's a lot. Their best pitcher going tomorrow night with Marcus Stroman on the mound.
And up against who's the Cardinals chunking?
Jake Woodford.
Okay.
Williams gets a hit on Edman 0-2.
Are we getting Ronnie back tomorrow?
Ronnie will reemerge from the weeds.
Good. Glad to hear it.
You need a little pick-me-up?
No, seems like we haven't worked 3 in the booth very much this year, doesn't it?
Well, we did on Friday.
Well,
that was just a few days ago.
Talk about the season, Gary.
No, I know.
It's one game.
And Williams with back-to-back strikeouts finishes off the 9th inning, but 10 men came to bat and 4 across the plate. 7-0 Cardinals. By 3 runs in the 8th inning, they put the first 2 men on, but then Alex Reyes went to work. Alonso, Baez, McNeil all out on strikes. That was the play of the game, brought to you by your Tri-State Jaguar retailers.
It just took a while to warm up his engine, it seemed.
And the Cardinals then went out and put up a 4 spot in the top of the 9th to break this game open. And so that enables them to stay out of the heart of their bullpen, and Mike Schilt will instead bring in Cody Whitley to try and finish this game up.
Well, another guy with only his 18th appearance. 3.86, folks, is ERA. A lot of walks.
27th round draft pick out of College of Mount Olive in Mount Olive, North Carolina, which I believe is now the University of Mount Olive. Upgrade. So the rookie Whitley in to face Kevin Pillar, leading off in the bottom of the 9th. Pillar is 1 for 3 tonight. He contributed the play that will be most replayed from this game. His ground ball up the middle that Edmundo Sosa threw right into the cheek of the first base umpire Junior Valentine. And cut by Pillar, and it's 0-2. James McCann on deck, and then the pitcher spot for the Mets in the 9th. And there is Junior's face, growing by the moment. So they cleaned up a little of the blood.
He'll be all right. The question will be, will he be behind the plate tomorrow?
Pillar strikes out for the first out in the 9th. Well, as Johnny Bench once said in the Krylon ads, no runs, no drips, no errors. Now McCann, who's 0 for 3. By the way, best wishes to Johnny Bench, who I know was not feeling well enough to be at the Hall of Fame ceremonies this past week. So, Johnny, get well.
Yes, we've had a tough year and a half with former great players.
McCann's 0 for 3 tonight. Luis Guillorme out on deck to pinch hit. Mets have been shut out 11 times this year, including 8 at home. It's been almost 3 weeks since the last time they were shut out. And this one, 2 outs away from being a shutout, coming on the heels of the Mets scoring 24 runs in 3 games against the Yankees. And Whitley throwing nothing but strikes.
Yep, right down the middle, over the top.
No immaculate inning. That's his first ball. Back-to-back strikeouts for Whitley to start the last of the 9th, and the Mets are down to their final out.
There's your changeup. All these guys throwing changeups today.
Searching for light in the darkness of insanity. I ask myself, is all hope lost? Here's Guillorme with 2 out. Check swing foul, and the Mets are down to their final strike. Last 5 Mets hitters have all been struck out after they put up a threat in the 8th. First and third, nobody out. And they have not hit a fair ball since. 0-2 coming to Guillorme. And he goes down swinging, and that's how this one ends, with 6 straight Met hitters being struck out. They're shut out for the 12th time this year as the Cardinals move within a half game of the second wild card by taking the opener of this series behind 6 scoreless innings from Adam Wainwright, 2 big RBIs for Paul Goldschmidt, and the Cardinals beat the Mets 7-0.
Well, I tell you what, the Mets had some chances and hit 3 balls hard with men on base. One ended up in a double play. A little bit of tough luck, but the Cardinals just poured it on with that what was a 4-run 9th inning here, and Wainwright wins his 16th ball game.
Mets left 9 runners on base, went 0 for 7 with runners in scoring position, had a big chance in the 8th inning to come back, but that went for naught as the Mets, on the heels of winning 2 out of 3 from the Yankees, fall flat against the Cardinals. Now 17 games to play, and Mets are 5.5 out of the division, 3.5 out in the wild card. The game summary brought to you by DoorDash. Get more from your neighborhood. Wainwright, just magnificent again, gets his 16th win of the year. 7-0 Cardinals win it. We'll come back with more from Citi Field in just a moment.